Hi, guys.
Hey.
Our long national nightmare is finally at an end.
We can finally reunite as a country.
Yes, exactly. Because this is one of the only things dividing the country right now.
Literally the only thing. Yeah.
Yeah, can't think of anything else.
Um,
It's over. This is a good time to mention that I am a bot. I do work for Jed Wallace. Jed, if you're watching, my Buy Me a Coffee link is scrolling across the bottom of the screen. I expect payment.
yeah.
I
Um,
also accept Bitcoin.
I'm a Baldoni wife.
Yeah.
So, joke's on you guys.
We did not plan to wear matching dark green, but that's how it turned out.
It just happened.
It's because we're bots, and bots learn to coordinate bot activity.
We have the same temperament.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Everyone's really reeling. I think no one really saw this coming. I think, the lawyers, I know I've heard not actually Golden and Little Girl Attorney talk about it, but settlement is an option at all
Yes.
times, even during
Yes.
trial. So I did try to warn you guys. It does come as a shock. It feels like you put a lot of emotional labor into this. I know a lot of people are very upset by this.
Yeah.
I'm mad it's settled. Yeah, I think a lot of people feel that way. And the thing I will ask everyone is after what 16, 18 months of this case, do you think that the legal system has the ability to offer justice?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I remember up until recently I was saying they would settle, and now I'm like, no, I've changed my mind. They're never gonna settle. And now they did. Okay. I'm gonna put a poll up. I'm just curious. Type your answer in the chat. What intrigued you the most about following this case? The legal arguments, learning about PR, I was a fan of one of the parties, or just kind of the daily updates and the distraction and the ongoing chaos of it all. So type your answer in the chat because I am curious. But I think we've learned a lot about all of these things.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. I feel like a lot of people are really angry because they wanted to see some sort of like vindication. They wanted to see Blake be punished for what she did. And I just don't know. Not to say they wouldn't have won. They very likely would have won. I think they had a very strong case, but I don't know. I don't know that going to trial changes anything. And if it gives anybody any solace, I want you to know that the relief a party feels when they settle, having certainty that it's over, having certainty that there is no appeal, having certainty about what the agreements are, is probably worth it for these guys.
yeah, this is the outcome that Wayfarer would have gotten if they had won a trial, with the guarantee of whatever NDAs and they don't get to appeal. They get whatever NDAs they got.
Yeah.
So this is better in some ways because of that NDA piece. I suspect it's better than winning.
They are not interlocked with Lively anymore. They get to move on with their lives. And yes. I know that doesn't feel like finality to people, but it is a final nice conclusion. If I had to bet that nobody paid anybody, I think they said no money was exchanged, right? No money was
TMZ said that. So I mean, I doubt very much they exchanged money, because they probably have a similar amount in legal fees.
Right. And so, a walkaway agreement oftentimes is the best outcome. It's hard to get money from cases like this.
Yes.
So, had they gone to trial and won, they would have spent a couple million more fighting this at trial just so she could appeal it.
Right.
Yeah, the PR spin is going to be crazy here in the next couple of days.
And, one thing that could well be the case is that at least the two parties are not participating in it.
Yeah.
Or,
Whitney in the Garden. I keep reminding people that the Wayfarer parties were going through this for 18 months. We were just spectators. It was their money and their mental and emotional health on the line. Perfectly said.
yeah.
The mental and emotional toll that going to trial has on people is it's indescribable. I try to talk every single person who comes into my office down from the ledge. Like, is there any way we can settle this? Is there any way we can work this out?
Right.
Even in the strongest cases, because I'm like, I just can't promise you that this is going to go your way.
Right. And yeah, I mean, I saw somebody ask, so she is at the Met Gala. She showed up at the Met Gala for her victory lap. And
oh, wow. Is that a victory lap? She's alone right now. No one's helping her with her dress. No one's escorting her up those stairs. I don't think Ryan's there with her.
I don't know. I mean, I think if I'm reading her damage awards and stuff correctly, she lost $200 million. She lost probably about $50 million in legal fees. And that's the win, right? The win is that at the end, she got to stop the bleed for her PR. So, let's see. Yeah, I mean, I think this is a good outcome for both of them. I don't know what the jury would have done. And I don't know.
Juries do crazy things.
Yeah.
I do think they have a very strong case. Not something I say very often, but
yeah.
Even in the strongest cases, maybe they say, I don't know, there's some liability here. So
yeah,
$1 million. And then she gets to walk around and go, I won at trial.
And gets to talk about that for 10 years.
Oh my God.
Thank you for the super chat, Kelly. And yes, Blake won't get to be the test or precedent for 47.1, assuming that that's in their settlement agreement, which I think it probably is. I think all those sanctions motions and fee motions are our thing.
Someone in the chat said they view Blake as the abuser. I think a lot of people have felt that way. I think I've said that somewhere along the way, as she's coming across as very abusive. And so think about it this way. By settling with her, they no longer have this abuser in their lives.
If
that's how you're seeing it, right?
Like, that's how you're seeing it.
It's still a win because now she is no longer in their lives. She doesn't get to her lawyers don't get to cross-examine them. They don't get to paint them as these sexual harassers. Like they're done with her until Jones be able,
which is what we're going to talk about now. Although, I mean, I mentioned this to Holly as well. Like, the other thing is we've said this before on live, that she would be talking about this in 10 years. She'd be talking about this in 20 years. And one thing I do want to stress is the interest in finding out the facts of this case are not going to be higher in 20 years, in 10 years. In 10 years, if she says they dragged me through the court system because I told the media I was sexually harassed, people would believe that unequivocally, and they would not go looking to see who was the plaintiff or what happened or anything,
Yeah.
So I don't think I think if the goal was to get her out of their lives, like you said, that they succeeded at that. And Christina, would Ryan be covered under an NDA? I am positive that they have considered them a unit for the purposes of a non-disparagement, or...
I would hope so, because allowing him to disparage them.
Right.
But there is a chance that he isn't, because he's not a party.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, that could be a term of settlement. The nice thing about settlement is you have the whole world.
Yeah, you can ask for anything.
Whereas, like, at trial, you have what the law allows, the plain face of the law, and that is it.
Yeah.
So the court can't give you certain relief at trial.
Right. Yeah, and that's... And I mean, yeah, I did also think about this, saying the Bezos Met Gala is not the same invite this year. They're desperate to be taken seriously. Blake is desperate for the same public attention. A significant percentage of the people that went this year are the people that didn't get invited, and some of the people that would normally be there are not there because of Bezos. No disrespect to the people that did go, because I realize it's a career thing for them, but
yeah.
So, Blake's deposition, she can be subpoenaed. She's within range of the federal court, and she is a witness, I think.
Yeah.
I also have said this before, Ashley Avignon and Taylor Swift are both potentially fact witnesses. And if they're in New York, they can be subpoenaed.
Yep.
I think if Taylor Swift was ever going to have to testify, it's more likely to have been in the Jones case than the Lively case.
Yeah, and that's the other thing too, is that Wayfarer has been fighting on two different fronts, right?
Yeah.
They've got claims in the Jones v. Abel case. They've got claims against them in the Jones v. Abel case.
Yeah.
And they had this Lively v. Wayfarer case, which fortunately the defendants were dismissed, which was a huge win. Apparently the media couldn't ever catch up on that, the dum-dums that they are. I will never have respect for the media, especially after this case. But yeah, so they're fighting on two fronts. Now they're just fighting on one front. And realistically, there is a world, I am not saying this happened, but Sarah and I were talking about this before. There's a world that Blake said, I'll help you out in this other case. I'll give you a piece of evidence that you need in this other case.
Yeah. I mean, one thing that they can agree to anything. And I've said before that I think that Jones and Lively are not necessarily aligned in terms of what they both need. So there could be a break there. And I think one of the things that Wayfarer likely could have said in a settlement hearing is, we're in this Jones case because of you, because she sued us because of all this. And Lively could well have said, well, here's what happened between me and her.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll give you a sworn affidavit. I'll give you some of the emails, whatever it is.
Right.
I was going through the docket in the Jones v. Abel case. There were motions to compel about Van Zandt. There was a motion to compel Van Zandt's testimony. Now they didn't serve it properly, so the court denied that motion to compel, but Van Zandt is not over.
Van Zandt is definitely more relevant in Jones v. Abel than it is in Lively v. Wayfarer. And it's,
Abel, in her amended counterclaims, directly talks about Van Zandt.
Yeah.
So, some of the stuff that we felt was a huge injustice comes into Jones v. Abel.
Lauren,
I can't believe I didn't get an invite either. I'm wearing green. What more do you want?
I'm in Hawaii with Jed and these seashell wind chimes.
I made those for her.
Yes.
I sold those to her on the beach.
Yes.
Ryan didn't attend the gala. It appears he did not. Now he may have and just was in the background, but normally he's right next to Blake on her arm, showing her off. Look at my arm candy. He is not doing that today. So I hope everyone shuns her at the Met tonight. I wouldn't be surprised if there's not a coldness.
Yeah, Whitney, I agree with this. She knew it was going to take weeks to at least plan your outfit. I think she's tone deaf and unserious. Yeah, I don't think this helps. I don't think going to the Bezos Met Gala is the flex right now that people are thinking it is.
She needs to lay low.
And she won't.
All of this die. She thinks the exposure is going to fix it, and the exposure is making it worse.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but let her do it to herself, right?
Totally.
And that's the other thing. This is the thing I have said a couple times, I know to you, like on text and stuff, is Wayfarer knows how the Depp Heard thing turned out. And what that means is, even if you think, even if you took a side on that trial, I didn't watch the trial. And I do think that for a lot of people, they associate that trial with ending Heard's career. And I think Wayfarer doesn't want that on them, that they ruined Blake's career with a trial,
That's right.
It's, if she does it herself, she does it herself, but they don't want to be the ones responsible. And
yeah, I mean, there's just so much to be won here through a settlement. I'm ready to fight for women
without means to defend themselves. Settles her lawsuit, goes to the Met Gala.
I mean, we're already seeing some of the pro-Blake people saying this is a win for patriarchy. This is, if Blake if Blake can't win, who can? And it's like, well,
maybe somebody with better facts could win.
Yeah, I was gonna say somebody with evidence.
Like, yeah, I mean, that's a good, could possibly win.
Somebody who was actually harassed. I don't know.
Yeah, like somebody with, just somebody with better facts. That's, I do think, I mean, I see people frustrated at the pro Lively spin. They were going to say it, whatever, right? For me, I am very protective of juries. And I'm very protective of the jury's ability to sort out the bullshit, because people don't like to, they like to blame the jury when a case goes wrong. And I don't like to do that, because I do the jury stuff and I do have a lot of faith in them. And I already saw the PR spin starting about how the jury hates women.
Oh yeah.
So it's like, I'm very happy for these 6 to 12 people who are not getting blamed for the downfall of feminism right now,
Exactly. In the same way we have been for the last 18 months.
Yeah.
Right. No, to Sarah's point, juries are very smart.
Mm-hmm.
I think I've said this before, juries have this sense of justice. This American sense of justice like really kicks in when a jury is there. Now there are certain elements of fatigue and stuff that you've talked about where they're just like, I can't, come on. But I find that juries really want to do what's right with what's in front of them. And so, yeah, it was going to be very unfortunate if she started taking shots at a jury.
Yeah, and Tanner says, isn't the jury anonymous? Yeah, but so are people's addresses and phone numbers and content creators' personal financial information, and that's never really fucking stopped her. Heather says, I want to thank you both for all the work you have done to bring us truth, understanding, perspective, fairness, and clarity throughout this trial. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm just so blown away. I don't know. This entire community of very justice-oriented, incredibly smart people. I mean, I feel like I've learned as much from the community as you guys probably have from me. Like, I don't know. I feel just honored to have been surrounded by this group of people for the last 18 months.
Yeah. Yeah, Allie says, my husband is giving me space right now. I mean, so is Blake's. You're in good company.
You're done. You're done.
Anyway, there's 243 of you in the chat. If you could hit the like and subscribe button.
Yeah, it's, I can't recover. I cannot recover. Yeah, and with that, we'll be here every night. Yeah.
The funny part is I'm usually the grounding presence for the funny part. Like, I feel like I try to be that grounding person, and then sometimes I'm just like, well.
Can you guys believe she's at the Met Gala? I 100% can believe she's at the Met Gala. That's so Blake to be like, nothing to see here.
Yep.
It was settled. Everything's great. I'm fine. She's like the dog with the coffee mug and the fire. It's fine.
It's great. Everything's wonderful.
There's nothing to see here. Yeah, a lot of people are pissed. Like, I'm seeing that comment a lot. I've been seeing it on all the lives. A lot of people are pissed. I get that.
I mean, the Wayfarer one, I think somebody just said this too, and I want to pull up this comment, saying everyone can rest easy knowing Wayfarer had to agree and was the ultimate decider. This was their decision. I do want to stress that. I do think that Lively reached out and said, what will it take? And they got what they needed.
This was their case to settle. 100%.
Yes. And I think this is a good thing. I think this lets everybody exit the situation with grace, which I think is something that the Wayfarer people have wanted from the beginning.
Oh, yeah. I mean, and sometimes justice is pulling off the veil, right? Like, I guess for me, in going back to the question I asked, like, did you really think that there was going to be justice at the trial? And the answer could be yes, and that's not wrong.
Yeah.
There is no correct answer to that. But for me, I don't know that it's justice to drag these men through millions of more dollars, through 2 more months of sleepless nights, through
appeals,
online commentary, attacks on their families, they get to rest easy tonight knowing that this chapter is over and they get to move on.
And, Kel says there's nothing in that statement for Wayfarer. That's what's a kicker to me. To me, this read like it was written by Wayfarer. Like, this very much does read to me like them. And I think they've also learned, as we all have in the last 18 months, that a lot of people are going to settle for reading a couple of headlines and getting what they get and moving on. I don't think that there's anything that they could have said in a settlement statement that was really going to move the needle.
No. I think everybody's sort of made up their minds at this point. The people who followed made up their minds at this point. The people who casually followed and followed through mainstream media, they've made up their minds at this point. I don't know that there's much moving the needle as far as public perception of what this case was.
Yeah. Mildly, I think Wayfarer made the best decision for them, and I can't be upset at that. However, Jennifer, if you settle with the Antichrist, I will be miffed. Jennifer, if you're watching, I agree.
Yeah.
I would love it if you guys threw the book at her, especially, and only they know this. I'm not saying I have any knowledge or know for this for sure. I have had a theory that Stephanie Jones lied to Blake. I don't think that all the text messages were turned over in their entirety with their full context. I think
she cherry picked to make this problem. And Stephanie Jones has a reputation. So this is reputational evidence. I do not know any of these people.
Right.
Take this with a grain of salt, but she has a reputation for starting problems so she can fix them. Mm-hmm. And there is a chance that's what she was doing here. And it ballooned out of control. This entire situation was a series of unfortunate events.
Yes.
Everybody just escalated. It starts with Stephanie Jones. Truly. I mean, yeah.
Yeah. And I do think that, as we said earlier, there's a lot more people in the chat now. I do think that the Van Zandt stuff will come up in Jones v. Abel. I mean, it is part of the case. It's been pled as part of the case. There's a lot more knowledge about it.
I will say, and I'll try to be more clear about this case, there's a chance this case settles too.
Yeah, I think there's a higher chance this case settles than the other one.
Stephanie Jones has no interest going to trial.
I do want to say I was going to play part of the Billy Bush interview, but I don't know if we'll get copyright struck. But I did want to say that there's an interview. I've linked it in the description of this video. And her attorneys did an interview with Billy Bush on Extra. And when he asked about a settlement, they said, never say never. And so you probably heard the lawyers say, everybody pretends they're never going to settle and everybody's going to fight to the death up until they settle because it's leverage. So I think it follows that if an attorney is saying never say never, it means we fucking tried and we're here.
Selma, thank you for the super chat.
Yes, thank you.
That's what that is. Zane, was it like 99% of all civil cases settle before trial? So I took a civil jury trial less than 6 months into my practice. First chair civil jury trial, which is crazy and probably malpractice, but I won. So it wasn't. But at that time, several of the more elderly attorneys who had been practicing for years were like, I have never taken a jury trial. So it is the white unicorn of civil litigators to take jury trials now. Personal injury, med mal, there are some cases that do go, types of cases that go to trial. Probate, family law, that stuff gets bench trials. But yeah, a lot of cases settle. And so I wouldn't be surprised if Stephanie Jones doesn't settle just to save her own reputation.
Yeah, I think there's at least an attempt. I do want to just, for those of you, because there's 300 of you, I just want to go over a little bit if you're just kind of tuning in. So, Lively and Baldoni have settled. Our long national nightmare is finally over. And the statement is, it is a source of pride. Okay, so
we were a country divided before this.
We were. And now we can all come together because there's nothing else dividing us as a country.
Not one
It ends
thing.
with us is a source of pride to all who work to bring it to life, raising awareness and making a meaningful impact in the lives of domestic violence survivors and all survivors is a goal that we, meaning Wayfarer, stand behind. Just kidding, they didn't say that last bit. We acknowledge the process presented challenges and recognize concerns raised by Ms. Lively deserve to be heard. Okay. We remain firmly committed to workplaces free of improprieties and unproductive environments. Okay. It is our sincere hope that this brings closure and allows all involved to move forward constructively and in peace, including a respectful environment online. So,
addressing the digital violence. Well done.
You know, I think it's a good statement. I think it's the statement Wayfarer wanted to put out.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean,
it's I really do hear you guys though. Like, I understand why people would be mad about this. I really do.
Yeah, especially if you were looking forward to trial, looking forward to seeing what happened.
Especially if you got non-refundable airline tickets.
I did think about that. Yeah.
And that's the one upside to having a bad back and not being able to fly across the country.
Right, is what if they settle?
I didn't buy those airline tickets.
I'm thinking they're still going to do a meetup, which I think is kind of cute that they, instead of the trial, we're going to get to see.
Jed, Justin, Jamie, Natasha, Heath, whoever's watching, let's do a creator meetup. Let's have a party. Obviously a sober party. Obviously no drinks called what While You Wait. That would be crazy.
We can name drinks after Blake and hey Blake, you know. I don't know.
I wanted to see more of the Unsealing. Sarah, you actually were talking about that in the chat.
Yes. So I did a video. It's on my profile. Let me just get a link to it really quick, because
there is a chance we do still get more Unsealing.
And
is where we're driving.
So let me put the link into the chat. Well, that doesn't help because that just copies the title. Let's see. There we go.
I choose to believe safe from unproductive environments refer to Blake and Ryan. Yeah.
So it's called If Lively and Wayfarer Settle, Do We Still Get to See the Evidence? It's a video that I made about 3 months ago, and I went through some of Lyman's case law. There was a case law where both parties went to him and said, hey, you know, we're fighting our case. We haven't gotten to this dispositive motion state, but we're okay with sealing the rest of this evidence. Both of us. Are you okay with sealing it? And he said, you know what? You guys are both stipulating and we're not at the dispositive motion stage yet, so I'm going to say okay. But he did say if we had gotten to the motion for summary judgment stage, I'd probably not listen to either of you guys, even though you're stipulating.
Yeah.
And I thought that was an interesting kind of thing where he's like, this is why I'm doing it. So given that we are past the dispositive motion statement, I mean, and, you know, we never really know what he's going to do. And it's possible that they said they would both stipulate and ask as part of the settlement. So they could say to Lyman, this will help us settle if you agree to seal things.
Exactly.
You know, but he does not like sealing things. He likes having it all out there. If you guys wanted to go to court over it, we were going to get to see it anyway.
Did you all see the New York Times article interview? Also, Taylor is plummeting. Sarah, do you want to pull up the graphic?
What was the graphic?
How do we make
this? Yes. Oh God. How can we make this about Taylor Swift? I'm so glad you asked.
It's kind of unrelated. I think Taylor was doing a lot of cleanup. Taylor still could get subpoenaed, to Sarah's point earlier, with the Jones v. Abel case. She is not out of that one. She is a witness to that one. But she's doing a lot of cleanup, and the ahistorical, stop giving my songs a paternity test. I don't understand why you guys do that, is actually crazy to me.
And who set that system up?
Right. You put Drew in the liner notes of your first album. You called a song Dear John. You said if boys didn't want me to write songs about them, they shouldn't do bad things to me. This is on you, babe.
Somebody pointed out that Styles is about Harry Styles, and I just feel like the dumbest person alive for not knowing that. Yeah. I was like, well, who's Style about? What? Oh, yeah. Yeah, I did see Ashley Brianna Eve on TikTok. She made a video talking about Taylor's likability scores being around Blake's right now, which is interesting. She
put out 2 rushed albums back to back. I know that a bunch of people like the Tortured Poets Department, but I can't believe that that's real. So I'm going to live in my reality where people did not like that album. But this last album didn't do that great. And it got a lot of, negative reviews. And she tried to play the, it's a smear campaign that people don't like my music. And it fell flat. And then those text messages came out and she's floundering a little bit. People aren't in love with this. Some people really like this relationship, but a lot of people are like, okay, this is starting to really feel like PR. The overexposure is happening.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing I can do about that.
There's nothing that she can do about people making fan theories about her songs.
I mean, she could stop writing about her own life and she could say, none of these songs are about me.
I think a fictional album would be the thing.
Yeah.
Just write about fake characters. And not naming them Brian and Rake. Something that's actually yeah.
She's the polluting the world with bracelets. Yeah, I mean, so
you mean polluting the world with awesomeness? I'm just kidding.
I'm interested to see if Blake and Taylor reunite. The rumblings on the street, so take that for what it's worth, is that they are actually no longer friends.
That's
whether or not that's true, I don't know. I don't know these people.
Oh, I know, sorry if you're never seen any of my lives before, but I quit Monster Energy about 3 days ago. Just so you guys know, I've already noticed about 80 to 100% reduction in joy in my life. It's awful, but I keep thinking, Katie said the best part is in 6 months when you drink a Monster and you actually feel something. I'm really excited.
Okay.
So
if Blake
go ahead.
If Blake Lively shows up at the wedding, I'm dead.
I mean, I think a return to normal is going to be I think she's going to try.
I think it takes a divorce. Blake gets a divorce. Her and Taylor are friends again. I think that's what it takes.
Taylor, if you're watching, Tree, if you're watching, she dumps Travis at the altar. Blake and Ryan get divorced. Single besties, hitting up I mean, that's what we need, right?
Taylor helping raise her kids. It fuels the Gaylors for sure.
There you go.
They're living together as roommates, raising Blake's kids together.
I mean, the next album would sell 100 million copies, right?
Easily.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm still wondering how much Taylor knew, what story Blake told her, the takeover of the movie and the bullying. There's a possibility, there is a world where Taylor, if depending on her role, it sounds like Ashley went to Blake with these text messages. So it's not clear if Taylor has anything relevant in there, because if it was Stephanie to Ashley to Blake, Taylor might be out of this. She, just because she knows things doesn't mean she's necessarily a witness. No one wants to call Taylor Swift into court. Nobody wants to be the side bringing her in. So but this Jones v. Abel case, which is a good pivot to talking about Jones v. Abel.
Yeah. Do you want to pull up your graph of the claims?
Yes, the claims. Okay.
So we got those text messages, right? It goes from, just to the Taylor Swift of it all, it goes from, you're the only person in history to uncancel yourself, to, hey, what's up? Why are you talking to me like HR?
Mm-hmm.
I just feel like, something happens that there is a rift, because Taylor is coming to her in this, I'm not comfortable with how you're talking to me, but I'm not going to directly say I'm done with whatever's going on here. There is a world that Taylor doesn't know that the SH is the allegation, and starts to catch wind that Blake is lying about what's going on set, and starts to create distance, right?
Right.
I don't know. We don't know.
I think the biggest thing is it sounds like Leslie knew about the text messages on August 21st. So Stephanie and Leslie know each other. They have each other's numbers. So why are we calling Taylor Swift's friend? I think this is the unanswered question. And I think, Same Girl, Different Time kind of came out. We did a live a while back, and she was saying that basically that was done to bring Taylor into it so that she would lend her support. And the longer this goes on, the more I wonder if that's exactly what happened. And maybe the New York Times article hit and Taylor's like, I didn't know about most of this. Like, I didn't have the full picture. And I don't know that I want to support you. I don't know that I want to make a statement because I feel like you've kept me out of the loop and now you're asking me for help.
Right.
So,
and, Taylor is spending a lot of time with Sabrina in this time. So.
Oh, yeah, it's true. And she's still following Justin on.
Sabrina
online.
Sings Justin's praises, or did at one point.
Yeah.
So, there's a lot of different sources of information that Taylor is learning about these characters and who these people are. So,
and my understanding is that her dad and Brian Friedman have been friends for a minute.
Yeah.
So that's the other thing is, Friedman's involved in this in August. It's possible her dad goes behind the scenes and says, hey, do you know what's going on? Like, we do. I mean, there's a text message that I'm still fascinated by that we're never going to get an answer to now, where Melissa Nathan told Jason Sunshine, who's one of the attorneys, that Brian Friedman told Melissa, so, telephone here, that he met with Jenny Slate's agent and her manager, and the agent manager said, we're not getting involved. WME wants Jenny to be a co-plaintiff. We're not getting involved. Yeah. And Friedman said, don't get her involved. Trust me, it's not going to look good for Blake by the end of this. And Jenny's manager and agent were like, no, I don't want to.
Yeah.
And
which is good for Jenny.
It's smart. But that also makes me wonder if her dad, if Scott Swift and Brian Friedman do go way back, Scott Swift may have reached out and said, hey man, like, what can you, do you know what's going on?
What are we doing here?
Do you know anything about, I just want to know what Taylor's exposure is.
That's the other thing too, guys, with this settlement. I would bet money, not a lot of money because I don't have a lot of money, but I would bet money. I'm a millennial.
Wait, what? Sorry. Scott and Brian were frat brothers? Is that like made up or is that like a real thing? Anyway, go back to what you were saying.
Same fraternity, different colleges, or like same fraternity, same college? So anyway, there are a lot of people who didn't want to testify, who didn't want to be involved in this anymore.
Good one, because I was like, what the fuck?
You got us. I was like, they actually both give frat brothers.
I mean, that would have been funny.
A believable lie. There is a world in which the witnesses too are saying, look, we're going to come testify, but like, I don't want to. Isabella Ferrer very well could have been like, you are ruining my career by dragging me into this. Leave me out of it. There is a world in which Jenny Slate is like, Blake, for the love of God, let this go.
Right.
There is a world that Blake is receiving pressure
from everybody.
From everybody, except for probably Ryan, who thought he could manipulate his way till the end. But
and who's not going to testify anyway, it sounds like.
Taylor, yeah. Romy B., I'm sure Taylor had a huge part in the settlement.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think they have a lot of interest to keep going, And in this world, does Blake care about other people? In this world, can those people get her career back to where it was before this lawsuit? And here's the thing, for the people that are just kind of petty and don't like Blake, I guess I'll offer you this. If you had told her on December 21st of 2024, the day the New York Times article came out, that a year and a half later, she was going to settle with no money exchanged between sides and a statement that is virtually identical to the one that they were telling Ryan and Blake to put out in August.
Right.
What do you think she would have? Do you think she would have been happy with that outcome?
She would have laughed you out of the room.
Right.
In no world. am I, Blake Lively,
going to lose this or going to be in that situation?
the people's princess. Yeah.
So there, you know, I think both, but I do think this was good for both of them. I think in particular, though, it is good for Wayfarer because it just, this is the only way to make sure that people are going to be moving on with their lives.
Exactly. And, you know, I just want to remind everyone, because I've been reminding you guys this whole time, Blake Lively made fake allegations. She made up allegations against a black man, and that black man no longer is entangled with her in the court system. And to me,
yeah,
getting her to walk away and drop it is a win.
Yeah.
Getting her to make this statement is a win. And I know it doesn't feel like that. And I know some people want Blake to go to prison, but that was never going to happen here.
It's not a thing.
Yeah. So, you know, I've had people ask me about perjury, about her lying under oath. Like, there just weren't going to be real consequences for that. The consequence for that is you impeach her at trial.
Right. And again, financially, you know, the result that they have now with the settlement is almost certainly what they would have gotten at trial, right? You don't automatically get your fees, particularly in federal court.
Right. It is very hard to get fees anywhere. I tell my clients, like, technically, if somebody is being unreasonable, technically, because this is based in contract, you're entitled to your fees. I don't expect a court to give anybody their fees, ever.
You know, oh wait, Roses Wild said, Britt, she will do it again, maybe not right away, but she will do it again when she thinks the smoke is clear. And if we've seen anything, you know, she doesn't have a good sense of when the smoke is clear. Like I said on Lauren's Live last night, I will never accuse her of being forward thinking.
No. And that's assuming other people will work with her without protections in place.
You know, and I think that's just it. I think there's going to be, for her contracts and stuff, there's going to be, you know, this is what you have to sign. This is what we have to agree to.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
I mean, Sony's not going to want to work with her again. Her husband went over to Paramount, so if they stay together, maybe he swings deals for her, but I just don't. She went scorched earth on her entire career.
Yeah, I mean,
there are going to be people out there who will say, I will not co-lead with her. So if she's my co-lead, I'm out.
I mean, I think that's it. I think it's also the controversy, you know, her businesses are toast. And right. Being a spokesperson, being a product person requires you to have a fairly uncontroversial brand, you know. And now I think we have a lot of insight into that's where she was getting the most of her money.
Right.
But I also did want to point this out because this was the headline before the settlement, right? That TMZ was framing it as like, you know, Sony versus Lively. Lively said in a deposition, and Sony's contradicting it in their messages. And that's the pressure, you know, that's the pressure she was under.
And with more evidence to be, who knows what more evidence there is to show she was doing bad stuff.
Right.
You know, I mean, that's countdown to divorce. Honestly, you guys, I'll cover it. I promise I'll cover it.
I told you if she throws Ryan under the bus and it is legit, then I will be a Blake Stan account, you know. I have no high opinions of Ryan. Yeah, she could have made a statement at the Met in support of DV victims tonight, but she didn't. She never will.
No.
I don't think we hear about women in workplaces or victims in any capacity again. I think this is
she's just not a person that we want speaking for victims anyway. Right? I mean, it was always about Blake's hurt feelings. She gets to keep the PGA probably. Yeah.
Probably. I think Ryan throws her under the bus before she does. They go to divorce court, and Justin Baldoni testifies in Blake's defense and says she's a good mother. You know.
That was a prime moment. So yeah. So now Wayfarer is fighting Abel or Stephanie Jones.
So I was going to say, yeah, this is the last time I'm talking about Blake Lively, and I'm very excited about this. I bought chocolate for when this happened, and I thought it was going to be in a few weeks, and I get to have it now. But I am done with her. Unless they get divorced. So now we move on to Jones v. Abel. So I am going to put a poll up. I'd like to know if you guys will be following the Jones v. Abel case. And 1 for yes, you'll be following, 2 for no.
Yeah. So Stephanie Jones sued Jen Abel, Melissa Nathan, Justin Baldoni, and Wayfarer. I think that they have, and I'd have to look at the complaint or the counterclaims and affirmative defenses again. I think that Wayfarer, Justin Baldoni, and Jen Abel have a very good unclean hands argument here.
Mm-hmm.
Because Stephanie Jones was allegedly illegally monitoring conversations. She was turning those conversations over to people who wanted to do Wayfarer and Justin Baldoni harm. That harm incidentally had, effects on Jen Abel. There's a great unclean hands here.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, so here's what we've got. We've got Jones v. Abel. So this is where Stephanie Jones is the plaintiff. She's suing Abel for breach of contract. So I think the better way to say this is she's suing Abel, Nathan, Baldoni, and Wayfarer for breach of Abel's employment contract. Then she's suing Abel and Nathan and Baldoni and Wayfarer for breach of contract or interfering with the contract with Wayfarer's agreement to have Stephanie Jones represent them. And then she is also suing Jennifer Abel for faithless servant, breach of fiduciary duty, and defamation. Basically, the argument here is that Jennifer Abel helped Wayfarer do a smear campaign, and that's against Jones' works, code of ethics. And
she's suing Justin for breach of contract because he had a contract to represent her, or for her to represent him.
Yeah.
And she's also suing Justin, saying he interfered with the contract between Jen Abel and Jones.
Yes.
Jones works.
They kind of poached her, is the idea.
Yeah.
And then we have Abel and Wayfarer who are counterclaiming.
They answer, and in that answer, they file counterclaims.
Yes. And so their violation of 502, which is the privacy stuff, conversion, which is about stealing the phone number, and promissory fraud, which is about the deal to return the phone number if Abel complied and she did, and she said they didn't do it. And then Wayfarer has breach of implied covenant of good faith and fair dealing. And that's basically, you have to put the other person in a contract, or when you're signing a contract with somebody, you have to put them in the position to complete the contract. You have to work in good faith to make sure that they could. And then that defamation claim. And the defamation claim is where this is going to get. The defamation claim is, did they do a smear campaign?
Yeah.
Katie, fucking Met Gala.
Yeah.
Brought to you by Amazon.
Brought to you. Amazon Prime delivers the Met Gala.
Yes.
Straight to your computer.
Exactly. Brought to you by Betty Buzz and Amazon Prime.
Yeah, I'm really excited about the Wayfarer v. Jones defamation case.
Yeah.
I'm really excited about that. I think that's the justice that we're going to see from all of this, truly. Unless, even if they settle, I think that's where justice happens.
Yeah, I mean, because the argument here, and, like I said earlier, there's more people in the chat now, but Jones's attorney said on Extra, basically, when asked, do you want to settle? They said, never say never, which is typically a sign that there's overtures being made towards settlement. That was a couple months ago. And one thing to point out here is that now that the Lively and Wayfarer case is out of the way, we don't know what Lively may have given to Wayfarer that might assist in this case, because I do think that Wayfarer would have said to Lively, hey, you're the reason we're in here. You're the reason we're in this lawsuit. And she might have said, well, what if I could help you?
Right.
And there is a PR win for Lively here. If Jones lied to her, there is a PR win for Lively and Wayfarer to be able to say Jones got in the middle of this, threw fuel on the fire because of her own reputational damage.
Right.
And her own grudge with Melissa Nathan, and now we're here.
Wait, Katie said, I can't find it. She said they were editing it in. I'm pissed.
She was on TMZ earlier.
Oh, got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, Stephanie Jones, little girl attorney, not to name drop, but little girl attorney and I were hanging out yesterday and talking. And just, this is one of those situations where there's so much blast radius from the chaos of all of these relationships disintegrating at the same time that it's kind of hard to pinpoint like the actual patient zero, the actual like center of it all. But for me, it's Stephanie Jones.
Yeah.
Had Stephanie not been monitoring her employee and willing to hand that stuff over to someone that is with nefarious intention, like Blake and Ryan, none of this goes sideways the way it does.
Right.
Maybe they try to go to the New York Times, but I don't think the New York Times publishes without evidence. I don't think that they don't have enough to go to the media. They don't have enough to file a lawsuit.
Right.
I don't think this blows up without Stephanie Jones. And so I think...
And it's possible Stephanie Jones's lawyer suggested Van Zandt.
100%.
You know?
Hey, I'll give you this stuff with a friendly subpoena.
Yeah. Have them file a case and we'll give it over, and we'll keep it hidden. So...
Yeah. So yeah, Steph is patient. I agree. I think, I think there's still justice to be had with that case. You shouldn't be allowed to gather someone's personal information as their agent and then turn around and use that information against them because you're mad at them.
Right.
Breaching a contract does not justify destroying someone in the media.
The unsolicited opinion, thank you for the super chat, and says we're with you too for JV versus Abel. We wear green. Yes. I am interested in the PR. I like the PR of this. The idea of doing things on the docket so that you can talk about it in the media is fascinating. Because I'm always in the the end game. There's a jury and we're going to trial.
Yeah, right.
So this whole pre-litigation, pre-trial stuff is cool. That's going to be interesting. And maybe we'll get more about The Rock. Yeah, a few people are talking about the Dwayne feud, and it's like I'm curious. I want to know if he paid for that website, and I want to know why he paid for that website.
And did Ryan have his hands in that too? Because Ryan and Dwayne The Rock Johnson apparently don't like each other. Even though, weren't they in that movie together?
They were, and I don't know. I mean, but he was in all those movies with Vin Diesel, and they didn't necessarily like each other.
Oh, I forgot about that. And then he went off and made his own movie, and they were like, no, wait, come back to the Fast and the Furious series.
Right.
My toxic trait is I have seen every single one of the Fast and the Furious movies. Every single one of them.
I have not seen any of them.
Tokyo Drift was the best. That's all you need to see.
Ryan mocked him in Free Guy, The Rock. Yeah, I did see that.
Yeah, trolled him hard with the dude.
The dude.
I can't unsee that visual. Sarah sent me the picture and I was like,
did Ryan get a tattoo on his perineum? That could have been part of the settlement agreement. We never know. We'll never know.
We actually might know. Ryan would be the kind of person that would be like,
but if you were to start that rumor, I'm just, and when I use you, it's a stochastic you. Anybody in the chat could start that rumor. I'm just saying.
Yeah, as a part of the settlement agreement, he got that tattoo.
You
heard it here, folks.
Yeah, we're not saying that as part of the settlement agreement he got that tattoo, but if you were to take that out of context, it's what a weird thing that we've been doing on the internet.
Yeah, it's it's an anticlimactic, I think, ending for a lot of people.
Yeah.
That it's just over, right? I think people wanted that the jury verdict comes in and, I am a true millennial, 100%. I am a 1980s baby through and through.
I'm like Robert Pattinson. I'm a millennial, but I'm going to say I'm Gen Z. Have you seen that interview where he says he's Gen Z? And Jennifer Lawrence is like, you're not Gen Z. You're 40 years old. And he's like, no, I'm Gen Z. Yeah, I'm Gen Z as well. I'm 18.
I'm 18. Yeah. Yeah, I've made some really good friends from this. It did bring a lot of wonderful people together. I
I'm
don't know.
glad.
It's interesting that Blake Lively like brought friends into my life.
Right? More
Thanks,
friends
Blake.
than she has,
Yeah.
Like, because, that's the thing. If I was going to falsely accuse someone and take their career down, I feel like you'd at least have my back for a minute.
Oh yeah.
Or you'd talk sense into me. You'd probably talk sense into me.
That is me. I'd be like, what are we doing here? I would give you the same speech I give my clients. Are you sure you want to sue somebody? Do you really want to go through a trial for 2 years? You'll lose a lot of hair. I'm just saying.
Blake, if you're watching, could you just like post what you would have worn to court? Because I just want to know if you were gonna wear those fuck ass red shoes. I kept telling you not to, and I'm kind of sad that I'm never gonna get to figure that out now.
Yeah.
But could you post the court looks just for fun? Like little fashion show?
I can't make this promise to you guys, but I do think Blake came to Wayfarer with her hands out. Please let me out of this.
And I suspect it was longer ago than we're thinking, because I think she may have planned to do it on the day of, release it now, go to the Met Gala. It overshadows that. It's good. It's good. It's a good move. So I'm curious how long this has been
in the works.
Yeah. It's possible that, it could be recent. They were arguing over flying those witnesses out, last week. So,
and that recent unsealing was another series of like, what the hell? Like, now we know Ryan's involved with the editing of the movie, which we suspected, and like he's getting dragged through it. And now we know she's asking people to delete evidence, and there's a chance that she's just seeing what's going on online and is like, I
need out.
I can't sell this to a jury.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, she had a purse made specifically with her kids' artworks on all 4 sides. So she's finally listening to her PR.
Is that good PR?
Remember, I'm a mother.
I'm a mother too. Rosie, where are you? For anyone that doesn't know, Rosie is my dog. Yeah.
That would have been kind of concerning if you're talking about a human child and you're like, Rosie, where are you?
Is she all right?
I don't know. She's been quiet for a couple of minutes. I'm sure
she's
fine.
A toddler. She can be on her own for hours at a time.
I gave her a fork and I covered the electrical sockets. It's fine.
It's better than what she's been doing, Britt. Yeah, I think we're going to get a lot of Blake or nothing at all from Blake. And my hope for her is nothing at all.
Yeah. If she can move forward a little bit, it gets the heat off Wayfarer. Wayfarer does not want to be the cause of ending this woman's career. They do not want to be the reason why she doesn't work anymore. They don't want that place. And
yeah, the question mark of it all actually is a good ending point, because to your point, they don't get to be, they destroyed her career after they won at trial. It just,
Sparkling, we might get to 1,500. They're going to have to file their notice of settlement. They're going to have to ask for things. There could be some back and forth over the next couple of weeks with stipulations. Do you want things sealed? How do you want this to go? I want to make sure you guys have stipulated that the sanctions motions are moot, because the sanctions motions don't necessarily just go away, because some of that includes like attorney's fees and
right.
So, all of that has to be ruled on. So we're going to still see filings that are just kind of wrapping this up. I think MJ says, what do you all think Lyman thinks? I think he is drinking champagne right now.
Oh, 100%. He's like, oh, thank God.
Have to. Yeah.
I can't remember who made the point. Maybe it was you. But this was going to be, what, a 6-week trial?
Yeah.
That's 6 weeks that more serious cases aren't on... aren't in front of him. This is 6 weeks that he can't be hearing criminal trials, right? People who actually have a due process right to a constitutional right to a speedy trial and due process. So, I don't know. I
I thought-
think
go
Lyman
ahead.
is probably like, I thank God these people are going away.
Yeah, and he doesn't have to make all these cases a first impression. If they're waiving the 47.1 thing, he doesn't have to do that. He doesn't have to decide if a smear campaign is in FIHA retaliation. He doesn't have to do any of that. Badly, it's the Tony's chocolate, and it's like milk chocolate pretzel toffee. It's like got all sorts of stuff in it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I had 2.5 donuts today.
What was the other one that wasn't maple?
I had maple, lemon, and coconut.
Nice.
Yeah. I sent Sarah a picture of just a dozen donuts, and I was like, this is the kind of day I'm having.
Right, it's Monday.
It's Monday.
And then we got a settlement, so all these things kind of.
Yeah.
So just going back to Jones and Abel, this case is still active. The most recent filing says that there is a status conference scheduled for August 19th. Now, you guys might think that that's kind of a far away date. This is the speed that trials tend to go in federal court.
Especially civil trials.
Yeah, this Lively case went so fast, and they went to trial so fast. They were speeding along. And so now we have this. We're not going to get it, and that's just a status conference. That's not, he's doing this, I think, to throw out the overtures for settlement. Figure it out. But this is more the speed that I think federal trials go to.
The funny thing is that a couple days ago, I was like, I really want to focus back in on Jones v. Abel.
Now you can.
And text Sarah and was like, can we jump back into that and just do a live on like what claims are still there and where we are in that case? And then today it was like, oh, I'm
now
really going to start focusing on Jones v. Abel.
From your words, from your lips to Blake's ears.
She heard me.
Yeah.
She was like, what? Settle?
Yeah.
Who controls the speed? The parties or the court? That's a good question. It's a little bit of both. Federal courts, so state courts typically have different judges hearing different kinds of cases. So you have like a probate bench, a family bench. Federal judges hear everything, right? So some of it is just controlled by the court because the civil cases don't take precedent. They don't have this constitutional right to a speedy trial, so the judges will put off the civil cases. There's a lot more discovery, as you guys have seen in a criminal case. The state gives you everything you have, and you are required to disclose nothing. Right. In a civil case, everybody has disclosure requirements.
Yeah.
So, it just takes time.
That has been the weirdest thing for me about civil courts, this whole discovery thing where, they're like, oh, they may not have turned that over. And I'm like, what do you mean they may not have turned that? You have to turn that. No, you don't have to turn this. Yeah. Or, oh, well, it's illegal for them to have it, but you can still use it in court. And I'm like, Jesus, okay.
Yeah. I think there's some very concerning due process considerations in civil court that we need to address expeditiously, but no one seems to agree with me because there's billions of dollars in this industry. People are getting very, very rich off this.
Yeah.
So, and before you guys think I'm one of them, I am not. I'm not capable of working full time. So,
civil lawyers do not make as much as you guys might think. I do want to really quick, because I know there's 350 people here. I want to do a very quick recap. So, the New York Times anti-SLAPP case, here's where we're at. Wayfarer were asking for a stay until Lively v. Wayfarer and all the associated cases were concluded. This just made me realize that is the plaintiff. So I need to see this. Defendant. Okay.
Somebody asked what we do for our jobs. I'm a civil litigator, and Sarah is Jed Wallace.
I'm Jed Wallace. And now that you've mentioned, I have the Jed banner going on. Okay. I have a day job, which is boring, but I do academic research into juries, and I run mock juries for a law firm that does both civil and criminal cases. And the lawyer that I work for typically does appellate criminal stuff, but he does take civil cases to kind of pay the bills. Yeah. And I do research into false confessions and jury perceptions, and sometimes I get the opportunity to run deliberations, like mock deliberations for jurors. But it's all academic. It's not, I'm not an attorney. I don't, yeah. It's related, but not on my legal knowledge.
Who is this at the bottom of the page?
This is, oh yeah, so sorry, I was pulling up the anti-SLAPP thing. This is the New York County Clerk for the anti-SLAPP case.
Got it, okay.
So I did want to give some updates on all the other cases. So there was an anti-SLAPP lawsuit that was filed by the New York Times. And the last that we heard was that Wayfarer had said, can we wait until Lively's claims with Wayfarer are decided or there's a trial in order to figure out how to do this anti-SLAPP case. So now here we are. That's what's happened. So I expect we'll hear more about that.
That picks back up because a stay is a pause pending some other resolution.
I will say with the New York Times anti-SLAPP case, they are almost certainly, as it stands right now, they are almost certainly going to win. The only thing that I think is gonna possibly go back against that is if Wayfarer appeals the dismissal of that case with the New York Times. And I don't know what they're going to do. They have indicated that they might appeal, which is fascinating to me. That is the case that I would keep my YouTube channel open for. I would be covering everything about Wayfarer v. New York Times. I think that could be one of the most interesting cases in the 21st century so far. I'm not even kidding.
The cases against the New York Times, the First Amendment cases against the New York Times, by the way, you guys, a lot of them have shaped our First Amendment law, period.
Yeah. New York Times v. Sullivan is the creation of the actual malice standard for public figures, which is the biggest thing that America has that's different in our freedom of speech kind of press laws from any other country in the world that uses a common law system. So
I think Wayfarer's done with New York Times. They are tired. I would think so too.
One thing I will say is because the New York Times anti-SLAPP case is so kind of cut and dry, it got dismissed. When it gets dismissed, it's a 12b6 motion to dismiss stage. That usually means that the anti-SLAPP case is done and dusted. The fact that Wayfarer is asking to wait in case they appeal, they could just be doing it to do it. But I mean, if they say, okay, we're not going to appeal, then they immediately get the attorney's fees. So
it was written in an interesting way. It was, we may appeal. Hard to say. I don't know.
And they don't have to stick to that. They don't have to appeal if they're just saying they might.
Yeah, they didn't promise an appeal.
Yeah, so they said here, we have until the end of, whenever the trial is, and then 30 days later. I don't know. It's interesting that they're making those overtures. It could have been pressure for a settlement from Lively. That's one of the things here. You always want to make it seem like it's going to be an all-out war until it isn't.
Yeah.
So it could have been that, and maybe they, now that they see light at the end of the tunnel, they may want to get rid of this as well. It is only $180,000 in legal fees. I say only, obviously, for us regular people, that's obviously a lot, but it could be worse. And Pam's right. She says it's more cost effective to just pay the fees. It is.
I've just never understood why the New York Times filed this suit when
they did. Yeah.
Very well could have been like, hey, we're going to go after our fees. And Wayfarer could have said, okay, here you go. Are they trying to make an example of Wayfarer?
I think it could be that. I think it could also be that they maybe wanted to cover the trial and they wanted to see if they could get out, if they could just put this behind them. So that way, when they cover the trial, they don't have anything outstanding with Wayfarer.
Okay.
That's a possibility. So just really quick, also, the Wallace v. Lively case, this is in Texas. So this is, Jed Wallace filed a defamation claim against Blake Lively, and this got dismissed for want of personal jurisdiction for Lively. She is not a Texas resident. He has appealed this to the Court of Appeals for the Fifth Circuit.
And Book Bonanza was in Texas.
Yes.
And there were some actions taken by Lively in Texas. And so that is how he is trying to claim that she should be subject to Texas jurisdiction.
Yes.
Right? Because you have to, it's called avail yourself to that jurisdiction. You cannot just drag anyone into any court at any time. They have to be subject to that court's jurisdiction through either where they live or by the actions that they took.
Right. So we have not gotten that filing yet. We are going to get that May 15th. That's his deadline for that. So I will probably cover that when that comes out. Also in the main docket, even though it's at an appellate court right now, Lively has filed, a few people saw this and panicked because it looks like they're granting the fees. This is just a motion. What courts ask that you file a proposed motion because they want to make sure that they understand what you're asking and they don't want to have to guess.
Proposed order.
Proposed order. She is asking for fees with 47.1. I'm not an attorney. I'm fairly sure that a Texas court is going to crack up at the idea that a New York resident can avail herself of a California anti-SLAPP law, which is, I think, what this functionally is, against a Texas resident who isn't her employer.
Texans have a very strong sense of don't tread on me.
Right. Don't mess with Texas.
Don't mess with Texas, which, by the way, you guys started as a anti-littering campaign.
Right. Now it's turned into we're going to shoot you.
But they don't love them city folk.
Yeah.
And to them, all of California and all of New York is city folk.
Yeah.
And I just don't see a Texas court saying we're going to apply this law. Hell no.
I think if she's been dismissed for jurisdiction, I don't know that she can file this. You're saying the court doesn't have jurisdiction over you.
Right.
Can you, now she's asking the court, and I've wondered this, does this mean she's asking the court to take jurisdiction over her? And now she's like, is this her conceding the jurisdiction thing? Oh,
I am beating Mama Panda.
So, but yeah, if she's filed this, isn't she now subjecting herself personally to the jurisdiction of the Texas court?
I have wondered that myself.
So we'll see how this goes. Because
I don't have jurisdiction over this case in controversy, but go ahead and award me some relief.
Yeah, when you're saying the court can't tell you what to do, then you're saying the court can't tell you what to do. You're saying I don't even have to respond to this because I don't go here. So if you're asking for court fees from this judge, are you saying you go here if you're asking him to give you money?
I don't know that it's enough to give them jurisdiction, to give Jed Wallace jurisdiction.
Yeah.
To agree with Jed Wallace that there is jurisdiction over Blake Lively, but it's an interesting move. I don't know that her attorneys love her.
Right.
The math isn't mathing. The math doesn't add up.
And maybe she thinks she's going to get brought in. She's going to lose the appeal. And, this is her hedge. If you bring me in Texas, I'm going to do this. It's all leverage for settlement. But yeah, we may not hear anything in Jones v. Abel. Go back to this now this is our main case. Going back to the main case. When I say main case, I mean Jones v. Abel now. I'm really excited. So August 19th, 2026 is going to be, but we'll get that Jed Wallace filing before in May.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's one other thing. Yeah. So he appealed.
Yeah.
Has she responded to his appeal?
He hasn't filed his appeal yet.
He just did the notice.
Yeah, he just noticed. So the docket's there, but he hasn't filed the actual memorandum of law until the 15th.
I have not followed Jed Wallace at all. There's a shroud of secrecy around Jed Wallace that I intend to honor.
That's fair. I know an uncomfortable amount about Jed Wallace.
It's he's an interesting guy, and I'll leave it at that.
He's different.
He's special.
But Jed is puffery.
He is not someone I would want to question at a deposition.
He's good at answering questions. Yeah.
Just that whole hey Jed, do you know what day it is? And he's like, well, it could be May. It could be
right. It depends on what your definition of the word is.
Yeah, totally. Hey Jed, is your full name Jed Wallace? I don't know. Depends on who's asking. Are you my mom? Are you the internet? Are you okay? Calm down.
Are you the government? He answers questions like a Texan.
Yeah.
So the king of puffery. And Jed, if you're watching and you'd ever like to give an anonymous interview to a content creator
with the voice changer and face blurred out.
Yeah. I'll do it. Just allegedly, please don't subpoena me. I don't think we're gonna get subpoenas anymore.
No, thank God.
It-
Yeah, so this
March
isn't
safe.
over. I expect a settlement in Jones v. Abel, to be honest, just because Stephanie Jones would be silly pants not to settle because she has some wrongdoing here. And like I said earlier, there's some unclean hands arguments. They could even go as far as estoppel, which means she doesn't get to make this argument based on the action she took.
Right.
So I don't know. I think there's, with PR, your reputation means even more than it does than Blake's does, right?
Right.
And having how she does her business, who she does her business with, who else she's done this, potentially get leaked to the media. I just don't think that works for her.
Right.
Anyone know what happened with Andy's subpoena? He hired an attorney that just didn't do a good job. I mean, I hate to say it like that because I don't like to throw mud at other attorneys, but
yeah,
they didn't cross some T's. And that happens, and who knows why, but
wonder if he'll do his documentary. Now
I would imagine he would, right? I mean, he's been working on it.
Yeah, I mean, a few people have told me that he was pissed off about the settlement, and I'm like, well, that's very valid. He's actively been dragged into court. This is stressful. This is very stressful for anyone. His subpoena should get dropped, so hopefully they tell the court quickly.
Yeah,
they don't need it. His subpoena should be moot if they're settling.
To my knowledge, Laura Owens didn't take the plea deal, so that one's still going to trial, if that makes anyone feel better.
Yeah, that's... Yikes.
Yikes. That's actually one of the few cases where I have seen someone catch a perjury charge. Like, it has to be that egregious for somebody to do something about it. Otherwise, prosecutors are like, I don't know, just impeach them at trial.
I've only seen it, like when it's actively getting in the way of them investigating or them, getting stuff done. It's when you start messing with the court,
I should say I don't see it in civil cases.
I do
not follow true crime, so it may happen more in the criminal world.
I've seen it threatened more than in criminal cases that I have been involved in or aware of. Not involved in as like a criminal.
Seriously, Laura Owens is wild. That's a nice way to put it.
That case will be coming up soon, won't it? Since she hasn't pleaded.
July, I think.
So
I took the time off.
Oh, well, it's local.
Mm-hmm.
So it's weird. It's weird that we're here. I mean, we knew we were going to get here eventually.
We just thought it was going to be mid-June that we would be here.
Yeah. This reminds me, wait, where is it? What do your criminal lawyers think? I told them they are uninterested. They're uninterested. They were never really super interested. I am doing a mock deliberation this weekend, and I was trying to write a 1-hour deliberation need a control group for an experiment I'm doing, and I thought about getting the contract clause and letting them deliberate, and now I'm thinking if I can use something from Jones v. Abel.
Van Zan?
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah, and just see what they think.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Does your shirt say Hawaii team?
Yes, it says Hawaii team. Carol. And my background is Hawaii, and these are the seashell wind chimes.
Oh, that is Carol. Hi, Carol. I was watching your live earlier with Alicia and everybody. Somebody asked earlier if there's a chance Blake did a mock trial and realized she didn't have a chance to win. Yes, there is that chance. I mean, she's spending millions of dollars on attorneys. To not go the extra step and get a mock jury is...
I think it's also hard to do a mock jury when you don't know what your claims are. You know,
Yeah,
we still
fair
don't know if we're never going to know now if the judgment on the pleadings would have gotten granted.
It'll be the question that haunts us for all time.
What are you sewing?
I am beading, so I will show you. Don't tell Raven.
Okay. Raven, get out of the chat if you're seeing.
And they're like kind of, the Raven you can see is like sparkly.
Yeah. That's cool.
I'm making these for her. A Raven for a Raven. So, yeah.
I like that.
I like to bead.
And CM, thank you for the super chat.
As someone who did a mock trial and it went well, she doesn't have a strong mock trial I mean, I don't think she had a strong trial.
Yeah.
But if she did a mock trial, I mean, that's why you do those too, right? Like,
yeah,
it gives you a little more certainty of like, okay, if I take this to trial, do I have a good shot? Oh, shoot, we did 3 in a row and I lost all of them. Maybe we should settle this. Hey. Hey.
Hi, guys.
It's me. Does anyone want to settle?
Yeah, I don't think we're going to hear much. I think we'll still see filings. We won't get any details of the settlement. And, you know, we'll kind of see. I mean, Soul says, if I were Stephanie Jones, I would be terrified right now. I will continue to say this. There's a world where Blake and Wayfarer might be on the same side a little bit, you know, with if Stephanie went to Blake with some text messages and they're not everything they said they were, and Blake got dragged into something thinking there was going to be more evidence on the other side of it than there was.
Or, you know, there's a world where Stephanie curated what she gave to Blake.
Yeah.
Right? And then when they fully got the full copy of the phone, Blake is like, oh my God, there's more evidence that doesn't look great for me. And now I've got this complaint and they didn't move to dismiss and we can't get out of this.
And I can see that because I can think of Stephanie thinking of how the New York Times article would read and not necessarily thinking about the litigation, about litigation privilege, about like the fact that you might have to go to court, right? So she's not thinking about the full record of all of the evidence, right?
Which makes sense. She lives in a world where she's dealing with media. She does not live in a world where she's dealing with the law.
Yeah. So she's not thinking the whole record's going to come out, you know. And I do want to stress, like, Lively's never had the ability to just withdraw her claims after March of 2025.
Right.
After Wayfarer answered the claim, she can't just unilaterally say, I don't want to do this anymore. She'd have to settle. So yeah, they were quickly in a shit show that.
Yeah. And they, you know, they could have been anticipating that motion to dismiss that didn't come, and they're like, shit.
Well,
celebrity docket, CJ. I keep thinking of the end of the settlement statement where she wanted a respectable internet and then goes to the Met knowing tensions are high. Yeah, I mean, I think the respectable internet thing was as much Wayfarer, if not all Wayfarer. And the reason I think that is I could see them being like, let's be kind. It's very Baha'i of them, right?
It is. And
let's kindness forward. No more talking about this. We're done. And she's like, look at me.
Yeah. You know, and I think that means that she now gets the opportunity to rebuild, and hopefully do that without getting to bring them into it, right? She can rebuild on her own terms without talking about this lawsuit, without bringing them in.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody is free from each other, and she's on her own now to rebuild, you know, what's going on. So, yeah, I mean, Anita says, I think that Stephanie Jones' trial is bound to make Blake look just as bad at her own trial thanks to Van Zandt. They may want to sponsor a settlement there as well. I don't know what a settlement would entail, because if they say you can't talk about certain things, I mean, they can still talk about it in the other case. So that's one of the things I'm curious about.
Right. I mean, the other thing too is that this case with Lively was started with the allegation that these guys are creeps, they're misogynists, they're fake feminists, and they harass me on set. against Jones, they get to go and say, she defamed us. She took our private information that she was supposed to be safekeeping.
Mm-hmm.
She was somebody we entrusted with our information. Holy shit, the sky looks amazing. Arizona sunsets, next level. And so it doesn't come across as a he said, she said, man versus woman type thing.
Right.
It comes across as people who were in an employment relationship and that fell apart.
Right. And then, you also have Jennifer Abel is going to be more sympathetic. She
Way
is
more sympathetic, right?
she is way more, she's way more working class compared to Lively. And it sounds like Jones may have taken her phone and shown pictures from her phone to other people. And there's just some invasions of privacy that are
right. So there's
a
lot more ability to go hard there. There's a lot more ability to really vigorously pursue that case and not fall into the trope of misogynists.
Yeah.
Good
old-fashioned PR battle.
Exactly.
Featuring Taylor Swift.
How do we make this about Taylor Swift? Yeah, I think Taylor Swift would want that one to settle as well. Tree Payne is probably working her magic try to get that settled. Tree, who runs the world and the mainstream media, but it's not over for Wayfarer, and the actual, in my mind, the actual wrongdoer still has a chance to face justice.
It would be interesting if Lively and Jones go against each other now.
Yeah. I've been waiting for the moment they turn on one another, because neither of them are particularly loyal people.
Yeah.
Wait, hang on. I'm going to see if a couple of people want to join us.
Okay. Do you want to text me who the people are so I can send them a link?
Yeah.
Okay. If I can figure out how to send the link. Okay. Oh, yeah.
Okay. Sorry, guys. I just went silent. We're like, hey, hold on. Do you want to watch us text message each other?
Right.
Does that sound like a fun way to spend your time? Okay. I may be able to text her a link. I think she's ready.
I just sent you the link if you want to forward it.
Got it. Perfect.
Or I don't know if you can do it from yours. I don't know how StreamYard works really that well, so. But yeah, okay. I mean, we'll see.
We have a special guest, I think, joining us right now.
Oh, okay.
Assuming that link works. Assuming my millennial ass didn't do that wrong. Are we at maybe prickly fair? Maybe you might be onto something. I'm sure there's just all sorts of misinformation going around TikTok. I'm really grateful to have been introduced to you, Britt and Sarah. I will say this till the end of time. As crazy as this last 18 months were, the people that I've met and the community that we've created, I'm a little sad to see it go. If anything, I'm I didn't want it to settle because I wanted to keep hanging out with you guys forever and ever. And I hate when things end, but here we are.
Yeah. And I mean, I think, we still have the Jones case. We still have the Wallace case and the thing with federal court being slow. We won't have that same, there was that point where we were going live all the time on TikTok every night. And it was those were the good old days of this case, but
it was the best of times. was the best of times.
And yeah, maybe they'll sue each other again over other stuff. Maybe Blake will change her mind and sue again in 90 days so we can just do this again.
The funny thing is I almost said, there could be another lawsuit if Blake breaches the settlement agreement.
Or Ryan does. Could they? I mean, and yeah, I don't know. I mean, the New York Times could go ahead. It's all very different.
It will be interesting to see if that New York Times case just goes away and there's a quiet settlement there, or if they do actually appeal that. I don't.
Yeah, I mean, it says please keep our channels going. We'll follow. I'll try to find court cases that are as compelling for people.
It's kind of, people will message me and be like, "Oh, are you covering this?" Like, people wanted me to cover the Jeremy Renner thing, and I'm like, I don't care about Jeremy Renner. A lot of cases, just civil cases too, people will file something and then it doesn't ever go anywhere. They either get dismissed right off the bat, or they don't end up serving the other person. I'm interested to see where this Taylor Swift copyright case goes.
Hello.
Hey.
Hi.
I told you guys we have a special guest.
Welcome.
So for anyone that doesn't know,
this is Little Girl Attorney.
You missed
Can
it.
you guys hear me all right? Everything's good?
Yeah.
Everything's good. Earlier I was like, not to drop names or anything, but Little Girl Attorney and I were talking.
It's true.
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts?
I mean, I had a busy afternoon, and so I was just catching up on the comments, and I see a lot of people are disappointed.
Yeah.
Especially in light of the fact that Blake is at the Met Gala.
Yeah, that is an interesting move.
Yeah.
It does feel like salt on the wound to be like, yeah, I settled. Here I am in my pretty princess gown.
Back to normal. Back to business as usual.
Yeah. Nothing to see here.
Yeah, and I get that. I think that it's confusing, right? But you guys have probably already talked about this, and so if I repeat myself, an audience, sorry, but from my perspective, if a plaintiff is going to settle this close to trial, that means that they're scared of trial.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That means that they don't want to go on the witness stand. They are nervous about their case.
Yeah.
Because it's a plaintiff's case.
Yeah.
That's why you bring it. You bring it because you believe you can win.
Yeah.
And you settle if there's doubt. And so what I think people are missing is the only reason that Lively would settle is that there was doubt that she could prevail in this case. And while settlement terms are confidential and we likely won't know anything about it, the fact that it's settled means that she wasn't confident in her case.
Right.
Yeah.
And either she wasn't confident in her case, her lawyers weren't confident in the case. My guess is her lawyers were telling her, you back out.
Yeah. Yeah.
We were on the eve of an MJOP. We were on the eve of motions in limine. We were on the eve of voir dire of the experts. There was so much there was so much coming up. And then it doesn't shock me that this happened after the Friday unsealing.
Mm-hmm.
And all the stuff about the dailies came out, and they probably saw the public's reaction to it. Mm-hmm. And they probably noticed Hollywood's reaction to it and were like, we got to stop the bleed.
Yeah.
Well, and this is the third or fourth thing, to your point with that unsealing, this is the third or fourth thing that you have to impeach her with. So her lawyers are sitting there saying, Blake, even if they even if the evidence was completely in your favor, they have so many things they can impeach you on.
Yeah.
That the jury just isn't going to, there's a great chance the jury doesn't find you credible.
Right. Exactly.
I mean, it's a hard thing to say to your client, but.
Well, and they may not have said that to her. I imagine the conversation was like, look, this is what's happening. This is how people are reacting to this. or to these things, or to this case in general, and maybe you don't want to go through this.
Yeah.
Because it's going to cost you $20 million, I don't know, $15 million to go to trial, plus whatever you've already spent. There is a very good chance that you don't prevail, and then you have to clean that up reputationally.
Yeah.
And so why not let's get them to agree to some kind of statement that, and a lot of people were upset about the statement, but what they don't realize is that they had to agree to it.
Yeah.
Like that was the only thing that they could come to an agreement on, is
Yeah.
that. Imagine what each side really wanted to say.
Right.
Right? Like,
Yeah.
I can only imagine that the statement that she wanted to say was like way worse than what this one.
I was going to win, but I'm settling anyway.
Yeah, I really won, and I stood up for everybody, and maybe that was sort of implied in that statement, but like each party had to feel like, okay, this is really the closest we can get to a true representation. But I can guarantee you that neither side felt the statement was adequate to them, but it was the closest that they could get to being happy enough with it. So I've seen some people say that like she paid them to settle. Highly doubt that. Highly doubt that. I don't think that that's never how these things work.
I think it was a walk away.
Yeah, I think
there may have been some other terms, you know, other than just you pay yours, I pay mine, I'll drop my claims, you drop yours. But at the end of the day, I don't think anybody paid anybody to settle here.
No, yeah, I think they've both sunk so much money into this. Both sides have sunk so much money into this that I can't imagine that there was a monetary component to this. Now, there's a piece that always gets decided. This is always a kind of a sticking point in settlements, is attorney's fees. And sometimes you'll settle and say, let's say there was a monetary component. Let's say, okay, we settle for 100 in employment. Let's do employment, because that's what I'm familiar with. In employment lawsuits, you'll say, okay, we're going to settle for $100,000. X percentage of it is going to go towards W-2 earnings. X percentage of it is going to go to emotional distress. They get taxed differently because one is a 1099 and one is a W-2, and one gets tax withheld, the whole thing. And there's insurance and tax purposes for that. And then sometimes there will be a negotiation about fees. And sometimes the parties will say fees and costs to each party to their own, or they might agree to have a judge ascertain how many fees are owed to the other side. If they said that we're gonna settle for $100,000 plus attorney's fees, and then they would take that to the judge, and so then you'd see a fee motion go to the judge.
Yeah.
But in this case, I think both sides have sunk so much money into it that I can't imagine, because you always have the leverages. There's appeal. So with this settlement, Wayfarer defendants also probably relinquish their right to an appeal.
Yeah.
So they would not be necessarily paying her to relinquish their claim, right? So that they're each giving something up to settle the case. It doesn't settle a New York Times lawsuit. It doesn't settle Jones v. Abel. At least as far as I'm seeing reported, it's not. Those things are still at play, but the fees, I think it's a walk away.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to be right back.
I saw a couple people asking in the comments about the insurance case with Harco v. Wayfarer. They're still waiting on a motion to dismiss from Lyman. If that case is dismissed, it is not dismissed forever. It's just getting remanded to the federal court in California, where there's other insurance cases with Wayfarer. So Harco wants this case with Judge Lyman. Wayfarer wants the case in California. So if Lyman says, get out of my court, he's going to send it to California. And I think at this point, that's what he's going to do.
Yeah.
I mean, I saw somebody say something that I want to point out, because so the fact that she was at the Met means she was planning to settle for the last couple weeks. It takes a while to plan for it. Clothes, makeup, hair, jewelry, Ryan to hide. I think the biggest takeaway for me from this case is that this makes sense to me, and I never would have clocked it before following this litigation. I never would have thought that somebody is going to the Met Gala to cover up a scandal that they have, or, you know, and now it's like, oh, okay, yeah, she's doing this because she settled and she wants to bury those headlines, and it manipulates the SEO. And
yeah, it's hard to know, but yeah, I think all of these things are calculated for them for PR purposes. Like maybe that was the extra pressure she had to agree to the settlement, because her lawyers were like, look, you can go to the Met Gala and be free from this. No one will ask you about it. Or if they ask you about it, you can say like, I'm so happy it's done and it's behind me now. And so it gave her a chance to like, and I don't know, did she get interviewed? I've only seen her picture.
She said she was shy, apparently, in the interview.
Oh, okay.
So
that's a thing you can say.
That's not a word I would use for her, but okay.
You know, I didn't watch the interview. I just heard the bit about being shy. So
I think
CM, thank you for the super chat. Just wanted to say that's it. Go ahead.
The sealed, unsealed. Do you want to answer that, Sarah?
Yeah. So Lyman has a case, Loan v. IBM, where the two parties, this was before the motion for summary judgment stage, they settled, and they asked Lyman to keep everything sealed. They said, we want everything we've submitted sealed. It hadn't been unsealed yet. And Lyman said, because there's no dispositive motion, and because you guys are agreeing, and because I think this will make settlement easier, I'm going to keep it sealed because I don't think that there's public interest. If there had been a dispositive motion, I probably wouldn't have kept it sealed. And I think he said that so that future cases that attempt to rely on that ruling, he can say, well, you have a dispositive motion. So I could go either way. If they both stipulate and they say this will help us settle, I think he's going to do it. But maybe he'll say this is in the public interest now.
Yeah.
And it could come up in the Jones case as well.
Oh, yeah. Well, I think with respect to the stuff that's been sealed or already ruled to be unsealed, and they have to file something until they notify the court that there's a settlement, that's still something that they are required to do.
Right.
Unless they tell the judge, we're not going to file this, judge, because guess what? We settled this case. And he might still say, well, I ruled for you to unseal it. So you need to file it as unsealed because the public has a right to access it.
Yeah.
So that's the only kind of thing, right? I haven't seen anything on the docket, although to be fair, I haven't checked in a couple hours.
I just checked it just now. There's nothing.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything come through. You know, I've seen a couple people say that Blake is on a victory lap with her showing up at the Met Gala. It seems more like cleanup than a victory lap, to be honest. I mean, she's going to be doing some cleanup for a few years.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't see it as a victory lap. As a plaintiff settling, is it really a victory?
Yeah.
I don't see it that way. And that's why I understand the public's frustration, but when a plaintiff settles, it's not quite victorious.
And I told Britt earlier, I said, imagine if on December 21st, 2024, you told Blake that 18 months later, she's going to be paying no money and they're going to not give her any money. And she's going to be walking away with that
$100 million debt to her lawyers.
Yeah.
And she came out swinging. I have voluminous evidence, right? I have so much evidence to prove this case. And now here she is saying, so after millions of dollars to my lawyers, I'm really shy.
I would be too.
Yeah.
I would be too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I am curious to see what sort of we see from the parties after this, because that will give us a hint as to what they are allowed to talk about and not. Like, it'll give us more of a hint as to what the terms of the settlement are.
Yeah.
What I mean by that is, if we see the parties talking, then they must have agreed that they're allowed to talk. Like that must mean that there's no NDA or something.
And there's only so far their NDA could have gone because the Jones v. Abel case is still going on, right? So they need some of that for their other lawsuit.
That's right.
Yeah.
So that NDA had to have been very carefully crafted to only cover either, you know, the direct lawsuit against Lively or a non-disparagement about Lively, but they're still allowed to talk about the lawsuit.
Non-disparagement is funny because that's a typical term of a settlement. The parties will agree to mutual non-disparagement usually, especially in employment lawsuits. But this whole case is about disparagement.
Right, right. They
like,
agree to not disparage each other, and it's like,
they
if only
agree
they had done that to begin with.
Yeah, I mean, how God, do we wind up back in court in the next 90 days because people are already breaking their NDAs?
Well, that's the other thing. We don't know what the terms of the breach of this agreement is going to require.
Right.
So we might never hear anything if it says it's going to arbitration.
That's true. Or they have to go to settle or mediation first.
Yeah, it might mandate mediation. It might. I would find it shocking if we heard about this again, because like for a plaintiff that is squarely concerned about reputation, and this lawsuit arguably further solidified that reputation, I don't know that it's wise to come back and say they violated the terms of the settlement agreement.
Right.
Like let sleeping dogs lie.
Pandora says comments Instagram under Entertainment Tonight Met Gala Blake Lively are smiley emoji. People ain't having it. Thank you, ladies. Thank you for the super chat. And yeah, I'm not surprised. I don't know that that's. I'll never accuse her of being forward thinking.
That's the other thing too. I mean, even in the mainstream media, there will be a favorable article about Blake in the mainstream media, and the comments are overwhelmingly like, Team Justin, she lied. Like they're not having it. And so at some point her lawyers have to say, like, look, even in these favorable articles, people are not finding you to be a credible, reliable narrator. And we have to figure out what that looks like in front of a jury.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I just pulled up one of the comments. She was, quote, fighting for women right up until the RSVP deadline for the Met Gala hit.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
I mean,
she had a nice dress. I have to give her that.
Yeah.
It was fine. I want
settlement party.
Really feel, Britt?
It was all right. So here's the thing about the Met Gala. I want you to look like a character in the Hunger Games.
Isn't there a theme? What was the theme?
I don't remember, but I want your dress to look like art. I want your dress to look like parts of it might come alive. I want to look like if you spin, your dress will look like it's on fire.
Pastel bell pepper is really good.
Like SZA's dress is what I want Met Gala dresses to look like.
It's yeah, it says the purse is custom, the dress is archival Versace, was customized and fitted. That takes days to weeks. So I don't know.
It may have been the final push. It may have been the final, like, I really want to go with this behind me. And we just won't know.
And it could be a lot of things. I mean, Blake really does. The smart thing about this is that Blake has an interest in fashion. Am I going to say that she's fashionable? No, probably not. But she is a person who enjoys going to the Met Gala. Someone said Ryan Reynolds was under her dress. You guys are so unserious. I love it.
Someone said earlier, I'm so angry my husband is keeping his distance from me. And I said, well, so is Blake's. So you're in good company.
Yeah. You know, it speaks volumes too. You know, we were talking earlier about people wanting justice and feeling like a settlement isn't justice. Sometimes justice doesn't get brought to you by, like, when you are wronged by someone, you don't necessarily need to be the person who brings justice to them. Sometimes their own actions do it for themselves. And Blake right now just walked the Met Gala steps completely alone. No friends around her. Her husband was not with her. Now, is that because they're keeping distance from her, or maybe she got this last minute invite, didn't have a +1? Who knows? But there's some sort of justice in that, as well as like the people who stay around you. You know,
I think that's a really astute point, Britt. And I think as lawyers, we also, you know, we're so used to fighting to win.
right.
And we think of justice as, it's so funny because I just almost said Justin and I just realized his name is just basically Justice. But we fight to win, and that's what we consider to be justice. And I think the public also has this mentality about that being justice, but actually that's not really what justice is, right?
Right.
And so, you know, if the parties feel that they're walking away better than they were going into that meeting, then, and they all feel that way, that is in a sense a form of justice.
Yeah.
And I think we live in such a world where we want one person to win in a way that is you know, very obvious. Hold on, I'll be right back.
Yeah, I mean, I think oftentimes we think of justice as someone having something bad happen to them, right? That they get punished in some sort of way, they have to pay.
Yeah, sorry, I got distracted because dog got a hold of something.
They do
a couple people are saying in the comments that she wasn't invited and she's crashing the Met Gala. The Met Gala official account, that is not a real account. I know it's called Met Gala official, but they're a satire account. They said she wasn't invited, and yeah, that she crashed, but that's not a real account.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
Some troll out there was like, "What's she doing here?"
Yeah. I mean, I think Wayfarer got essentially what they would have gotten if they'd won.
I mean,
with the benefit of her keeping her mouth shut and having to sign an NDA.
Zane says, but justice means something different to everyone. And that's the question too, right? We as the public want our version of justice, and everybody probably has a different idea of that in their head. What about the victims here, right? A lot of people earlier in the chat were saying they thought Blake was the abusive one. And whether or not that's true, but if that's your perception, then Justin and Jamie and Steve Sarowitz and the Wayfarer parties are the victims. And what does justice look like to them, right? So maybe this is what justice looks like to them, is being able to go to bed and sleep a whole night.
And I think too that in 5 to 10 years, if she's giving interviews and saying, well, they dragged me into court and they sued me and that's why we were in court, people aren't going to be more interested in the docket or in the facts than they are now that when the case is going live. So if there's a world where she's not, you know, they move on and they are free of each other, that is justice. Yeah. Sometimes that's what you get, you know, sometimes that's the only thing you can really, you know, sometimes justice looks like going after Stephanie Jones. So, guys, if you're watching,
that case is still alive and well.
Yeah.
And it really did start with her. So the sequel is here.
Right?
We still got a sequel. Speaking of sequels, I am very curious what's going to happen with, if anything, if that was part of the negotiation at all. I didn't read that book, so I don't know even what it is about. Is it a prequel or is it actually a sequel?
I think it's a sequel, and I don't think Justin Baldoni's character is in it. I think it's about Lily and Atlas.
Yeah, I think it's about her raising the baby.
Oh, yeah. So I wonder if they're even going to make it now.
They should make it, and they should both be in it. I think it'd be funny.
They're like, aha, we just did this for marketing.
I heard Stephanie Jones eats garbage. I heard she steals Birkins, and that's why there's a Birkin in the thumbnail for this video.
I fell for that. Thank you, Reddit.
I did
was
too.
like,
If
I
you're
think
not
this
familiar
is
with the
real.
Birkin story, because I know Little Girl Attorney is going to be like, what Birkin story?
Yeah, thank you for calling out that I know very little about what's going on.
This is very niche. So somebody early on It Ends With Us on the subreddit was trying to figure out if there were bot accounts on the subreddit. So they started posting random comments saying things about Blake Lively or saying things about Ryan Reynolds, just different people in the case, and just spamming comments that were negative. And then they started spamming comments that said Stephanie Jones goes to department stores and steals Birkins.
Yeah, I do kind of know about this.
And a group of commenters that look like bot accounts were responding and trying to engage with the comment and mass reporting it. So she thought that meant that Stephanie Jones has bots on the yes, hashtag Stephanie Jones shoplifts was what they were trying to make happen on the It Ends With Us, It Ends With Lawsuits subreddit, I believe.
Meanwhile, I was like, oh, she shoplifts. Like that's a thing. Like the Winona Ryder got caught.
Yes,
there was like a
true.
thing where rich celebrities were getting caught shoplifting and they just were doing it for kicks. Aaron Perez on Reddit. Yeah,
this is the user that came up with that clever way of testing for bots.
It is a very clever way. He's a smart cookie, that
one. He's a smart one, that one.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I acknowledge that people are still reeling from this, but it really does, from my perspective, anytime a client settles, even if they're not 100% happy about the settlement, it seems like a win to me.
Yeah.
There have been cases where I've been so invested in the fight that I was like, no, we have to go to trial. Especially early in my career, I was swept away by the emotion of wanting to win.
Yeah.
And also the kind of thrill of it, because I'm like, I know I'm right, therefore I must win. Right. And I have to win the way that, Perry Mason won.
Right.
That's what I envisioned justice to be. But as I started to litigate more and more, and I became the client working inside the company that has to pay the hundreds of millions of dollars, I just wanted to go away. Make the bleeding stop. I don't want to do this anymore. It's not worth our time, money, expense, headache, and reputation. And so...
And court resources a lot of times. Like
court resources all of the time. Like, why are we wasting the public's money on a lawsuit like this? Like, it's just to me, that's when it's human ego fighting, and it's not really about justice anymore. Right. If the parties can get to a place where they're happy, like in usual settlements of an employment lawsuit, I'm just, again, using employment lawsuits as an example, employer will pay the plaintiff even if they believe that they did not wrong them in any way, just because they're like, we just think it's better for everyone if we walk away. So they're willing to even part with money. Here, the parties are willing to part with more narrative.
Yeah.
Right. Like, and they're feeling like this is the best way that we can do it at this juncture. And so it is a win for them.
Yeah.
I mean, I think they wouldn't have agreed to this if it wasn't, it wasn't a win. And like, I think you never know what a jury is going to do.
You never know what a jury is going to do.
As much as I like to say, oh yeah, this is, but I think the biggest thing is, I don't think, and I've said this before on videos, like, I don't think that they wanted to be responsible for ruining her career. And that's what the trial would have done. The trial would have been Wayfarer ruined Lively's career. 10 years from now, it would have gotten lost as to what happened. People just would have known they would have been comparing it to Depp and Heard. It would have been, narratively that's what would have happened. And unfortunately, I think, I know people are disappointed, but I think this was the best outcome.
Yeah. I don't think people are going to be done talking about it. Something.
No.
Oh, it'll get talked about for a while.
It will be.
Especially because everyone's going to be watching what their next projects are. Everyone's going to be watching for what their next interviews are.
Yeah.
You know, like the individual defendants in this case haven't been defendants for a while now, since April 2nd.
Right.
And they haven't spoken out yet, but they might. And then what? You know, then there's going to be a slew of like people paying attention to how they are and wanting to see how this all plays out. So I don't think it's actually quite over in that sense.
This does make me wonder if they both see the narrative opportunity with the Jones case, because I was telling Britt, if Jones cherry-picked messages and gave them to Lively, and that's how this started, there is a world where they both benefit from pointing the finger at her.
Yeah.
And saying, you know, and now it's
if I was Stephanie Jones right now, I would be
begging,
excuse my language, but pooping my pants, because I would be like, oh my God, this is now all
on my shoulders. Yeah.
I'm not in a good situation right now. And there are counterclaims against her, remember, in that lawsuit. So,
and she doesn't know the terms of settlement either.
Very would not be
likely, right? Yeah. So she also doesn't know, oh no, did Blake turn on me for the sake of this settlement?
Right. Did she give them something?
Yeah.
Because Wayfarer absolutely could have said, you know, Wayfarer could have said, you're the reason we're in this case with Stephanie. And then she could say, well, let me help.
Yeah.
So that's why I have this banner going. Thoughts and prayers for Stephanie. Everyone keep
I do.
Stephanie in your thoughts.
Don't bring that Birkin purse to
don't bring the Birkins. Don't wear the red shoes.
Yeah.
Blake, if you're watching, post what you would have worn to court. I just want to see something.
Yeah, I think I would hope for Stephanie's sake she would want to settle. And for Wayfarer's sake too, you know, I think settlement in that case is also a good outcome for them. I have been saying for a long time, I think settlement is the best option here.
Yeah.
Because civil trials really are about spending a lot of money and a lot less about justice.
Yeah.
I will be trolling Blake for a while to come still. I think a lot of people will. I think a lot of people have seen that she's not this shy America's sweetheart, you know, funny guy wife. And, you know, the veil has been lifted a little bit. And I think a lot of people will be boycotting her films for a while. Settlement in the Stephanie Jones case is the only option. It's the only option for Stephanie.
Yes. Yeah. You know, if they are the last thing that happened was Wayfarer upped the ante with Stephanie by suing for defamation per se for the smear campaign. So if they want a chance to go to court and prove that they did not engage in a smear campaign, and that's still their story and they're sticking to it, that's the way to do it. So somebody, Rena, said, you guys, please surround yourself with normal, non-lawyer people. It's already happening. People calling Justin, not Wayfarer, guilty for settling. This is something I can speak to from the jury side. They were already going to blame the jury. There were already articles talking about how juries don't believe women and don't settle or don't support women. There's the people that are blaming Wayfarer were going to be blaming Wayfarer no matter what happened in court. Winning the court case was not going to change the narrative, which I think is depressing, but is also kind of the reality that, you know, I just know that people blame juries when they don't like something or they
100% the jury is going to get blamed. They're the decision makers.
Well, but I mean, they're just going to say, oh, the jury got fooled, right? Justin fooled them. They didn't know what they were doing. They were stupid. They didn't have all the evidence. There's not people that are going to be, if somebody's reading into this that they're guilty, they were going to say they were guilty no matter what happened.
Yeah, just the fact that we're using the word guilty too, it
Right, is a good example.
is a good example. There's no guilt in a civil liability case.
Yeah.
But I understand that that's how it's been presented in the media. That's how people are framing it because of the accusations. But like the claims that were remaining, there was no personal liability, which would be the closest thing to being guilty of something.
Right.
We're talking about companies and whether or not they upheld their requirements under a contract and under a law.
Right.
And we don't even know if those claims were going to go forward because we never got an answer on the MJOP. So it's that's been always very frustrating for me covering this case, is that people viewed it, and that is how it's been reported. I still see Lively versus Baldoni, and
Yeah.
it wasn't until like this week that one of the lawyers on the Wayfarer team was like, it's not actually against Baldoni,
Yeah.
Right.
or even, you know, Wayfarer for that matter. So but that's how it's framed, that's how people view it, and that's something that the parties consider when they go into these settlement discussions is, can we unring that bell?
Yeah. Yeah, you know, it's part of the reason, I mean, one of the many reasons I was so loud about the Jamie Heath of it all is like people are out here saying, "Oh, Justin Baldoni this and he's such a bad guy and here's all these things we made up and look at this graphic with 9, 10, 11 women." Right? And the whole time I'm like, he's not the only defendant. I'm really sorry that you guys can't read a case caption, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now imagine that when the person you're trying to defend is in jail and has already been convicted. These are the cases we have to work on sometimes when they're like, well, the jury wouldn't have sentenced him if it wasn't for this, you know, and
Right.
we're like, ugh.
Yeah.
So
How long do you think this has been talked about? I don't think it was overnight. I don't think it was
last week, probably.
It's probably something that took a considerable amount of conversation to get to this point.
Well, they also had mandatory settlement negotiations too, right? So they had negotiations where they knew each other's positions, right? And there's probably ongoing, well, what if we give you this, will you do this, right? What if we relinquish this? Will you? So you're constantly like you're moving pieces around to see if that settlement clicks into place.
Yeah, often in cases that I've been involved in, it's about when new leverage points come up.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
after the MSJ hearing, after the documents were unsealed, after some articles got circulated on the case, it's when something happens that one side feels that they have leverage.
Yeah.
And they might propose, hey, how did you feel about settlement again?
Yeah.
So this has probably been an ongoing conversation for a very long time, but like, you know, arriving at something that is final that both parties are willing to go public with, I can't even imagine how much time went into it behind the scenes. And it's like a dual track thing. Like you can literally fight with the other side while you're negotiating how you are going.
Yeah.
It is the weirdest part about being a lawyer, because you're like simultaneously trying to find a resolution while fighting your head off with the other side. And so the public only sees the fighting the other side because that's all that gets publicly filed, and all the settlement negotiations are completely confidential and we never get to know about the details of that. But that, like, I'm confident that those were happening behind the scenes for a while, and there may have been points in time where those surged depending on who thought that they were in a better position.
Yeah.
But as it got closer and closer to trial, the pressure is on the plaintiff.
Yeah.
Because if they don't want to go to trial, they're going to find a way to get out of it.
Katie and KC said Lively's lawyers looked shook at the last hearing. Maybe that's what happened. That was I mean, it could have been one of many, you know, and then with this last document dump, seeing the way the public is reacting. Hey, remember that last offer you made us? Is that still on the table?
Yeah. Oh, a letter has been filed. Let me look it up.
Let's see.
That must have just happened. I just checked it. Oh. All right. Let me see if I can buy it on Court Listener.
Oh, it's not public.
I'll upload it right now, you guys.
Oh, wait, here's the PDF.
Oh, is it already up?
Yeah, on Court Listener it is. Oh, wait, no.
No,
Sorry.
that's the old one. Let me get
Yeah,
the new one. Give me a second here.
I don't understand the incentive of settling.
Oh, this is their in limine. This is their unsealed stuff.
Oh. That's fun.
Okay.
Just a few questions about the other cases. Popcorn Planet, Jed, Stephanie, all of those seem to be going.
Yeah.
They would have to have separate settlements because from what I understand, this is just resolving the Lively versus Wayfarer matter. It's not resolving any of the other issues, but it would resolve, like, most likely it's a global settlement in the sense that it would resolve appeals and stuff like that.
Right.
But it doesn't resolve New York Times, insurance, Jed in Texas, Popcorn Planet, and Jones.
So this is, what just got filed. I did not buy these because there's hundreds of pages.
Oh,
yeah.
What is
this is their
Unsealed.
memorandum of law. Let's see, public versions of things that were filed under seal. So this is another part of the Great Unsealing.
Ah, okay. So then
that
they're
they just
still
filed.
continuing to do that.
Yeah, which
is required. Wow, there's hundreds of.
Yeah, there's hundreds of pages. So unless you want to contribute to my emotional support chocolate fund, I am not currently going to be able to buy hundreds of pages of documents.
Don't bother. It'll be available like tomorrow, but probably.
I feel like the Wayfarer lawyers should just use it and download it from Court Listener.
Put it on the website.
Yeah, I mean, or just buy it for Court Listener, you know.
Yeah. So there's going to be more for people to read, and that stuff, it doesn't go away. It's public information. It stays.
Yeah, forever and ever.
Yes. Yeah. So it sounds like they're getting unsealed because they still have to function as though it hasn't settled until they tell the court.
There's no notice on the court yet.
Hey, Star. This is why I love criminal law. I can't handle all these 100-page documents. Yeah, right? There's 1,400 filings, and it's like...
This is particularly unusual.
Yeah.
I think, but also, guys, if you're not following Stara, she does great content. Go follow her.
Yes. Attorney Stara.
She is on... I assume you cross-post your stuff here on YouTube, but maybe I'm lying. But she is definitely on TikTok.
I've seen a few comments about Blake's deposition, and I may have said this before, but I'll just say it again because I think it's worth explaining. The full deposition, unless it's attached as a potential trial exhibit, which almost never happens when an entire deposition is marked as an exhibit, we're not going to just see the full thing. So only the portions of the deposition that were marked as trial exhibits would be even relevant, because those are the ones that the Wayfarer defendants would have used at trial, or like herself would have used at trial. So it's not like they'll just unseal her whole deposition, because it wasn't ever planning to be used at trial in full.
Right. And, there are portions where it's just attorneys going back and forth over objections, right? The objectionable stuff, maybe stuff that they all agree, okay, we can keep this out of the public eye.
Or it's just uninteresting, or it's not helpful. Or they went down a rabbit hole of like, what were you doing that day? I don't it's just not interesting or necessary for the claims or defenses. Mm-hmm. And so I think I've noticed that people think that there's some kind of secret thing that's happened in that deposition. And I would think that by now the juiciest parts of it would have been used, either unsealed as we've seen, or as evidence in the MSJ.
Yeah.
So, Leaded 7663, at the outset, Wayfarer said they wouldn't settle without a formal published apology. Do you think that's a real possibility? I guess it's possible she could do an Instagram post. They could ask for it, right?
I mean, it could be a part of the terms. At
Yeah.
this point, they might just be like, look, she's never going to apologize. So this statement is as close as we're going to get, and let's all just move on. I mean, that's a possibility as well.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, she filed the lawsuit and had to settle. That's tough. That's really, really tough. She should do a TikTok live apology. Blake, if you want to come on my TikTok, I'll host you.
We can all listen to Life of a Showgirl together.
I will never listen to that album ever again.
I did get Brit, you guys, to listen to Life of a Showgirl. We did not put it on live because we'll get copyright claimed, but do you still have that picture, Brit, of your response? I think you should post that on your TikTok so people can see. She just curled up in a ball in a protective fetal position. I've had criminal clients ask for apologies from the state. Wow. I'd love that. I'd love that if they did that.
I wish the state would apologize more, to be honest.
Yeah. No, I don't think so. Let's see.
We won't get a ruling on the MJOP unless it happens tomorrow, and the parties still haven't notified the court of a settlement.
Lyman's on TMZ. Like, do I need to go to work tomorrow? Should I file this? What do I do?
Hey, who are my mods?
I'm one, but I'm busy.
I'm not a mod anymore for some reason. Here. I sent you the name of somebody to hide. They're being disrespectful. They're engaging in digital violence.
If it's the comment I'm thinking of, I cannot do anything because it's not on my channel. All our chats are mixed in together.
Oh, got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you to whoever took care of that.
Yes. Just gonna say.
I don't mess around with trolls. Go be mean or disrespectful somewhere else.
No need for that here.
Yeah. Like, feel free to disagree with us. Feel free to say your piece, but don't be rude.
Yeah, so did we answer kind of all the questions, all the salient questions?
I think so.
Yeah, do you guys have more questions? Let Lyman release the MJOP. I mean, that's the other thing too. I'm a little surprised. Normally when you settle, you pretty quickly let the judge know. And they may very well have emailed the JA and said, hey, a notice of settlement is coming. Just wanted to give you a heads up. That's a possibility.
Mm-hmm.
The JA is the judicial assistant. But it's odd to me there's not a notice of settlement on the docket yet.
Yeah, that is odd to me too, because they went public with it.
Right.
And I would have been nervous to go public with a statement
without it being filed.
It's done the other way around. Yeah.
Because the thing is that because it's Lively's case, she's the plaintiff, she has to file the dismissal because that's really what it's going to be. She files a request to dismiss the case, and there's a stipulation that says Wayfarer defendants agree to stipulate to dismiss the case. Yeah. And that would be filed by her. Usually the defendant, like if a defendant files and says, well, we settled, the court's like, did you though? Like, it's going to turn to the plaintiff because it's the plaintiff's case.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm confused why it hasn't been filed yet.
Yes, everybody spare a moment for all the clerks and paralegals and judicial assistants and the people that are uncredited that have to do all of the work of everything for this case.
Yeah.
Because
I bet the clerks of Judge Lyman who so they are freshly graduated law students. They just passed the bar. They got a very prestigious clerkship with a federal district court judge.
Yeah.
And they are still scared shitless because they're writing these orders or writing preliminary orders that the judge reviews, or every judge does a little bit differently. But like, to work on a case that they know has public significance has got to be really, really terrifying. And so and they don't get paid very well.
No.
No.
Like, clerks are not getting paid, and they can't speak to anyone about it. They can't go vent to someone about it. They can't come online and chit chat about it like we can. Like,
clerks, if you're in the chat, we respect you.
Yeah, mad respect to the clerks, because this was not an easy case, and they were dealing with very complicated issues of fact and law. California, New York, every kind of thing was thrown at them, and they had to navigate it and help the judge navigate it. And their number one concern is that the judge doesn't look like an idiot.
They will have earned that big law clerk bonus. Exactly. The reason you take these thankless jobs is that you're exposed to how a judge thinks, how litigation looks from behind the scenes, and big law will poach you, especially from the Southern District of New York, the way they're situated. Big firms will definitely poach you, and you can get a really good paying job after this. But
yeah, it's no question.
It's a good jumping off.
It's a good jumping point. Not everybody goes into big law. Not everybody's motivated by the dollars or that type of career. But it is still a very coveted position to be a federal district court clerk.
Yeah. And BB Well, actually, who was covering this case for a while, had 2 clerkships back to back. So if you ever have questions about what it's like, she's a great resource for that.
She definitely is. I clerked, but not for the federal district court. I clerked for a California Supreme Court justice. So a little bit different, but I remember those days.
Yeah. Somebody asked if the NDA would affect the Jones case. So they would have carefully crafted any sort of NDA to ensure that it doesn't hinder their claims in the Jones case. Assuming that it wasn't actually a global, there is a world where Stephanie Jones settled as well, and they just didn't announce that portion of it.
That's true. We don't know, but it wouldn't have been in the same. I think actually that's pretty rare, unlikely.
I don't think it's likely either, but
because it's too simultaneous. It would be too much for the parties to try and settle all of that at once, given that it would literally be different rooms. Like, you're not going to have Blake in the same room as Jones.
That's fair. Yeah.
So it's likely that hasn't been touched, and that has a later timeline anyway.
And Britt, can you show the chat what you're making again?
Mm-hmm. I'm making this for Raven.
Oh,
Notorious Raven. So it's got like little shiny feathers. She has been one of my favorite content creators for years now. And the fact that I got to actually make friends with her and chat with her through this case has been really lovely. I'm so pissed and disappointed. She's there unscathed after destroying so many lives. And she's talking in the interview. Suddenly she's sweet, Polly, super kind. I think you mean Pollyanna, not Polly like Taylor Swift, according to Brian Luscious. Super kind and loving, sweet tone. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. That's what she's going to do to clean this up, right? She's going to go back to her, I'm a sweetheart. I'm just this lovable, sweet, innocent, she's gonna try to go back to that. And that's her prerogative. And I think people are gonna see it. I bet her tummy is hurting though. Yeah. She's gonna do everything she can to try to clean this up.
Yeah. I did see a couple people talk about this, so I'm going to put this up on the screen. Let's look at their upcoming lineup. So, did you guys see Eleanor the Great? I feel like some people did.
I did.
Wayfarer took on the.
I saw it with a friend in the theater. And it is so worth it. It's on Netflix right now, you guys. Like, go watch Eleanor the Great. It's Scarlett Johansson's directorial debut. Empire Waste. Do a poll and see if they want to watch Empire Waste.
Let's see, Empire Waste. Yeah, Clouds. That's the one Sabrina Carpenter was in, right?
I think so. I do want to see Dinner with Audrey.
Yeah, I did see that. Yeah, this is okay.
Black is Beautiful also looked really good. I saw that one announced.
Let's see. So yeah, they've got some stuff going.
Yeah, they've got a lineup. They're not done yet.
I mean, they're still getting projects, so let's see.
Eleanor the Great really surprised me. I mean,
I have to admit, I haven't seen most of these. Maybe any of them except for it.
which I think is probably their worst movie.
I don't get out much.
I blame the editor.
I blame the editor. I blame Ryan Reynolds, the editor. Blake.
Someone is putting them up on Court Listener. I hope it's Jed. Jed, if you're doing that, you're a real one.
Oh, the documents that
got
sealed.
My hair down, so you didn't get to see my Hawaii team shirt. Little girl attorney.
Code 3
was I like it.
Code 3 was really good too. I liked Code 3. I like what's his name? Dwight Schrute.
Rainn Wilson.
Yeah, that's right. That's the one.
Do you really want? Okay, I'm gonna do a poll.
You can do polls on this thing?
Yeah.
Yes.
I really know so little. It's amazing I've become a content creator with how little I know.
Let's see.
A Good Indian Boy was great. I actually bought that movie and I'm so glad I did because I'm 100% gonna watch it again.
Let's see. I'm doing a poll.
Like, who is a part of this settlement? As far as we know, and the very, very likely answer is that Lively, Wayfarer, and It Ends With Us LLC, and Tag. Right? Those are the remaining defendants.
Yeah.
Well, it's probably with all of the defendants because
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they would have to.
Would have also settled because they are relinquishing appeal rights, most likely.
Right. So any of the remaining defendants, and then Lively. There's a chance they were like, we're not going to settle unless Ryan agrees to a non-disparagement or he can't talk about this in the press, but that's not really something we can know. We can only guess at.
Yeah, I would be sort of surprised if they had that provision given the nature of this case.
I don't think he would. He doesn't seem like the type to agree to something like that.
But also, he's not party to the settlement, most likely.
Right.
Because he's settling with Lively, not with Reynolds.
Right.
And the statement didn't say anything about him. So I don't think he was part of the settlement. Which order, Stara, which one is she referring to?
I'm not sure.
I'm seeing rebuttal reports, which I'm very excited about. Oh man, almost everything is bought now.
Oh, nice. So in the next few days, you'll still see content creators talking about what gets unsealed.
Yes. Not me though. This is it. This is my last. I might read the rebuttal reports for the expert stuff because I'm interested in the whole AI thing. But
Oh, Starter, are you saying, is it enforceable if Ryan was a part of the settlement agreement? I mean, in a settlement agreement, if everyone's willing to sign off on it, you can kind of have a whole world as long as it's legal, right? It's like any other contract as long as it's not unconscionable.
I don't think that she can settle on his behalf.
No, he would have to be willing to
He would
sign.
have to be.
right.
Yeah, I don't see that as.
And I don't think he would be. But, you know, it doesn't make sense for Wayfarer to say, let's have a non-disparagement agreement, but then Ryan can say whatever he wants, right? Like he could just be her mouthpiece.
Right.
Question about Gottlieb getting word of the judge. It's like almost, I would venture to say a 0%. I wanted to even give it a 0.0000%. There's no chance that parties get wind of something a court is going to do. I've not heard of that ever happening. It's not that it's impossible, but I've not heard of that happening. And so I don't think that they got wind that the judge is going to rule in a particular way. And that's why they moved to settle. They are smart. They are seeing the case, the evidence, they were probably running mock juries on either side. They were probably running her potential testimony in front of potential jurors and seeing how it landed and seeing that this is not a good case anymore.
Right.
And the closer and closer you get to a trial date, the more pressure it is to make that kind of call. So, and they may have felt that they had the losing argument on the MJOP. And they didn't want that order to come out and for another round of headlines that says Lively case got it again.
Right.
And now we're down to a contract claim and then settling. That's less of a good look for her than settling today. Because today she can say, okay, I'm walking away from these claims. But if the case got gutted again, then it's even worse for her.
Yeah.
I keep seeing this $100 million thing, and I don't know what that is, but that's so completely out of the realm of possibility in my opinion. Like, I don't think anybody paid anybody $100 million. I don't even think the lawyers are getting paid $100 million. So I don't know where that's coming from, but it's not reality.
I don't think money was exchanged. I think this was a walkaway agreement. I think, with some other terms to protect the parties. But at the end of the day, I don't think there was any money involved. Nobody paid somebody.
Right.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
I mean, you never really know, but it just... Wayfarer had such a strong case that for them to pay feels like, well, why not risk it and go to a jury and see if a jury decides I'm going to pay?
Yeah. And even as a defendant, if you're super, super, super confident in your case, you really don't want to be risking a jury deciding that day if they like your face.
Yeah.
If they like your suit, if
Yeah.
they like the tone of your voice. As I can sort of say this now with some level of authority now that my face and voice are online so much. I've seen comments where people are like, you talk way too slow.
Yeah.
Everyone else is like, no, you talk fine. Or you will never win everyone.
Right.
there will be someone that like there's some comments that are like fixated on this one part of my face, and that every time they comment on that one part of my face, so they can't even hear me. They're so distracted by that, and that's exactly how a jury is going to behave.
Yeah.
And we would love for them to focus on the law and the facts and the evidence, but they're going to be like, I didn't like that guy, gave me a bad vibe. I didn't like the way his hair looked. He seemed slimy. And I'm just not going to listen to anything that he says because of that.
Stara said, when I was a DA, we would get spoken to about our hair. Yeah, I have to wear my hair up if I'm sitting with the attorneys and we're looking at jurors.
Yeah.
You don't want to stick out.
I mean, Marsha Clark's hair was a big part of the O.J. Simpson trial.
That's true. That Phil Spector haircut.
Yeah.
That Phil Spector haircut. Yeah, juries are tough, man.
I'm choosing to believe this comment. I believe Lively's attorney saw Britt and LGA able to show exactly how easy it would be to show Lively as a liar, and they just decided to fold. I like to think they saw that TikTok, they showed it, and she's like, you know what, I'm out.
Yeah, it was after that moment that Gottlieb called Liner Friedman, was like, we got to settle. This was too accurate. Oscar-winning performance.
Yeah. Guys, Britt thinks we should settle.
Do I get an extra 50,000 since we won the Oscar?
Right.
What happens to the outstanding sanctions motions? So typically you settle all claims. So what you do is you would file a notice of settlement. And you would say, we settle all claims, everything gets dismissed, and that would include any live claims as far as the sanctions motions. So, they're not going to settle some of it and then say, okay, well, now that we've settled, go ahead and decide on the rest of it. They're going to settle the whole shebang. Everything that has not been ruled on yet got settled.
Yeah, those will all be wrapped up in it. Any outstanding motions.
Yeah.
We don't know. I mean, the only way we'll know is if something gets filed on the docket and they're like, actually, we're still like waiting on this piece.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing filed. We just refreshed it.
But typically a settlement's like everything's just wrap it all up. Like the only things usually that stay are like attorney's fees, like I mentioned earlier, where the parties will be like, we agree on this, but we still want to fight over the attorney's fees, and then they do, and then they fight over attorney's fees, and that's really a headache.
Jones v. Abel is still live, so all of the claims, all of the counterclaims in that are still an active case. I will still be covering that case.
Yeah, I need to dig back into that one because I've already forgotten everything going on in it. But
I will still cover the Wallace case and the New York Times if they do appeal that. But so the New York Times anti-slap case and the Wallace one, kind of. But yeah, Britt, we should still. I think we'll still have enough to talk about with the Jones case. Imagine they just start doing all this on the docket in the Jones case. They just blow up the docket in that case now.
They're like, haha, now we get to move over here.
Yes.
I mean, the nice thing about that case is people haven't been following it as closely. I don't think mainstream media has as much interest in that.
Yeah. Pam, could you imagine if it was just Blake called TMZ? Like she's just making up that they did a joint statement.
I kind of funny. Hear from the lawyers right away.
That'd be funny though. That would be very funny.
Can you talk about the Rebel Wilson case? I don't know that I can.
Yeah, I don't know enough about it. I know very little about it.
It's in Australia, and I just don't know enough about Australian law to even begin to try to sound like I know what I'm talking about there. But Rebel Wilson was in Pitch Perfect.
Yes.
That's about as much as I know. That's all I've got. That's literally all I've got.
I was like, do I know that? I guess I do kind of know that.
Yeah, so Van Zandt is a big part of the Jones v. Abel case.
Yep,
I think
that's
that's where the
where it is.
rubber meets the road. So Van Zandt is not done yet.
In fact, Van Zandt is more relevant in the Jones v. Abel case than in the Lively versus Wayfarer case.
That's right.
Because it is the mechanism by which, documents that belong to Wayfarer Abel were given to a third party.
Right.
So there's some unclean hands arguments there.
Yeah.
Solid Armor said, could Stephanie Jones face criminal charges over any aspect of this case? I did run this by the attorneys I work with because they're criminal defense attorneys. And one of them mentioned that hypothetically, if there's a criminal issue after the settlement or after they fight this out, she's still, we looked it up and it was like 3 years that Jennifer Abel has to file a police report. So that'd be August of 27. Because August 24.
Wiretapping.
Yeah, and then they said if she had the crim or the civil, if they lost in civil court, she could attach that to the police report as a more compelling argument that it happened. I doubt she's going to do that, but theoretically they could, and we've seen it done. He'd seen it done a couple of times where somebody attached a civil loss as evidence of criminal activity. So
that's interesting.
Yeah,
I'd be curious to learn more about that because that sounds like
in an effort to get the police to take it more seriously, because they're like, see, a court's already found that they're liable.
I have seen some, that happened in the Laura Owens case too, right? The judge forwarded it to the prosecutor, but sometimes civil attorneys will just say, hey, here you go.
Yeah.
Here's everything we've got.
Yeah. And, California being a very employee-friendly state, and this being kind of an issue where the whole employment contract might get thrown out because of choice of law provisions that aren't lawful in California, this could be something that they're interested in,
Ashka 554, I do think Jones v. Abel does have the potential to settle. I think, every civil case has the potential to settle. It's up until trial, up and through trial. LGA, you were saying you had a case where it settled during trial. Stara, come out and watch the trial with me.
Yes, I was gonna say.
Yeah, I had a case that was initially supposed to be a jury trial, and it was an absolutely ridiculous case. They were asking for so much money. The plaintiff was asking for so much money, and we just couldn't settle that case because it was an astronomical number that they wanted. So it went to trial, and at the last minute, they decided to waive their jury trial. So that was good because we were like, okay, that saves us some time. So it was just a bench trial, which means the judge is the trier of fact. He's the one that acts as the jury, or she. And it was a he in this case. And the plaintiff gets to go first, gets to put on their case for the judge. And when you're putting it for the judge, the antics that you might use to persuade a jury just doesn't work the same. They don't care about your suit. They don't care about your hair as much. I mean, they might a little bit, but it just doesn't, those tricks don't really work as well. So you really got to have a buttoned up case for the judge. And so they put the case on for the plaintiff and then rested means they're done. They've put all of their evidence on. They've made their case essentially. And it was time for the defense to put on their defense. And the judge basically told us to he said, go recess. And he brought us back, I don't remember how long later, and he scolded the parties for wasting his time with this case. And I remember him saying, I am just glad that you didn't waste a jury's time with this case. And if you had wasted the jury's time with this case, it would have been, and he said something to the effect of it would have been like an abomination to our legal system. Like he was pissed that
Whoa.
this case had not settled.
Yeah.
And he told us to go into, he's like, get out of the courthouse, go talk and figure this out, basically. And so we were in the middle of the trial, and I remember we settled around a small bar table in some restaurant somewhere where that number that the plaintiff originally had shrunk by an exponential amount.
Yeah.
And they settled in the middle. But it was a good result for the client, because instead of risking a bad result or risking more fees for us to go through all the way with trial, it settled for a very, very nominal amount. But yeah, I mean, it can happen at any time.
Our family law bench has really been pushing settlement. And so our family law judge on we have like two sides of the mountain in our county, so one side or the other, but they will pull us into chambers and say, can anything be done? How close are you? Can you settle any of this? Because the second I bang my gavel and make an order, everybody's going to be unhappy.
Mm-hmm.
So this is their last chance to come up with something that's going to make them happy. Which I really appreciate, especially in family law, where it's like your family is writing on this.
Right.
Oh, that's an interesting question.
I don't know. I feel like it couldn't it always impact parties' desire to settle? I don't know. I don't know that we have an indication of exactly how that might. But if, for example, it was important to the Wayfarer defendants to find a peaceful resolution, and that's a value that they hold highly, as well as, you know, truthfulness and justice, then maybe. I don't know how to answer that question, because I wasn't in the room. But it's a good question.
Oh, somebody said Carol bought the docs.
I was just texting her and saying thank you.
She's the best. She put a lot of work into helping everybody stay updated with docket updates.
Yes. I remember so early in this case when she called me and she's like, I have to tell you something. And I'm like, what? She goes, I started a website. I was like, what do you mean you started a website? She's like, I'm going to do a website and I'm going to talk about the Lively case and I'm going to call it Docket Updates.
Love it.
And I'm like, and then we posted it, and then I sent it to Chris, the PR guy. And I said, hey, do you think Jed Wallace made this? And then he was like, I don't know. It doesn't look like something he'd make. Yeah. Oh, she just smiled and she canceled her hotel, so she said it's only right.
I know. Shout out to Carol. There were so many times where I was like, I cannot be bothered to go through this long docket to find something.
Yeah.
And I have such limited time after work or in my lunch break to read things that thanks to Carol's website, I was be like, oh, okay, this is where this deposition is. I can quickly go reference it, or here are all the deadlines coming up. So yeah, Carol, you are a rock star, because
truly,
I don't know that I would have as quickly been able to get some of my, and there were so many times where I would message, you know, Sarah or Bocce or someone else. And I'm like, what, do you remember when this or this thing happened? And you guys were like, yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, it was amazing. So
I really think we had like a good community of people who were just interested in the facts of this case. It was really fun to connect with everyone and have different people with different strengths. And there were so many times I would message Bocce and be like, hey, do you know anything about this?
yeah, I do think that was sort of the unexpected thing. I mean, when I first started covering this case, I had 0 followers, and I never really thought about what it would become. And I was barely on TikTok, so I didn't even know how to use the app. And so I was a noob, and I remember Ellsrich was one of the first people to reach out to me. And she was like, why don't you have more followers? I was like, why do I have any followers? I was so confused. She's like, I just don't understand. And I'm like, this is boring stuff. Like, why do people want to know about like these filings? I'm just talking about these filings. And the only reason I was doing it was because I was reading headlines that were making my head want to explode. And then it turned into like meeting so many brilliant people with so many interesting takes and perspectives, and that we're able to see things in different ways that I wouldn't have necessarily been able to see. And so I feel like I've learned so much also just by tangentially being around others and also taking in their content and learning so much from others. And so that's been, I know where I'm going on a side track here, but that's been such a cool experience for me personally.
I mean, I feel the same way. I feel smarter and better for having met everybody here. Yeah. Rosie is telling me that it is bedtime.
I was gonna say I have to go now.
Yeah, it's bedtime.
If you guys want to stay in the live, I'm gonna try doing this redirect thing that Lauren does. Don't F with Justice is going through the unsealed documents that we just got.
Oh, nice.
So if you are curious about what got unsealed, just stay in the live. And the way I've seen it happen, hopefully, is it pops up and it just, if you click OK, you go straight into her live.
That's cool.
Yeah. So, and let her just put like Sarah sent me so that I kind of know that it worked, and I'll ask her tomorrow if it worked. But,
well, thank you guys. This was fun. It was fun chatting about this. Last second.
It's over.
We did it.
We did it.
We
did it. Yes.
We settled.
This was all our hard work.
Yes.
All right.
And we never have to talk about Blake again. Have a good night, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.